the LA Fitness where their staff members are there and so forth. But as far as I know, everyone is well there.
Well, that is very good news, James. Thank you so much for taking the time. You know, this LA Fitness is totally cordoned off. There's probably 10 or more fire trucks here, Plantation police, probably other law enforcement out here. University Drive, which is a straight thoroughfare to 595, 95, other interchanges here, is completely blocked off. So if you're trying to get to 595 from University, going northbound, then don't even bother. It's all closed off here. We do understand that there were some injuries involved. I don't think James here saw any. However, they did work on someone. We have pictures and videos and photos. We had one of our employees nearby at the time who was actually eating at a Chick-fil-A about a half-mile away, I believe he said, and his car actually shook when he went inside his car. So this is all very preliminary, understanding what exactly happened, but by all accounts it was some type of explosion. This pizza place we want to learn more about. We talked to an employee at LA Fitness who actually was saying that they smelled gas earlier at this pizza restaurant. We don't know which exactly it is, but we understand it was closed for some time. But now it's making sure that everybody is okay. Everybody's out of this LA Fitness. There was a little girl I saw here. Her father told me off camera. They were very shaken up, a family. She looked very upset. I don't know the extent of her injuries. She didn't seem like she was badly injured, but just very shaken up. As you can imagine, these kids in there at the time of a massive explosion, their parents struggling to get them out, as James explained to us. So as this continues, we're definitely going to keep our eyes and ears on the ground. We're going to have much more video, pictures, sound from witnesses who were inside at the time, and that LA Fitness employee who tells us she did smell gas earlier this morning before that explosion. For now, we're live in Plantation. Arlene Bornstein, NBC 6 News.
Thank you, Arlene. As you can see, for those of you who are just tuning in, we are covering breaking news. It's an explosion that happened in Plantation in a shopping center called The Fountains. It's located on Plantation on Peters Road and South University Drive. We're not sure, officials have not yet confirmed to us exactly where it happened, whether it was at the LA Fitness gym or in a building surrounding it. As you can see, there is an LA Fitness gym there that has been severely impacted. We can see debris from that structure spread out through the entire parking lot on cars. Even the sign itself has been damaged. Infrastructure pieces are scattered throughout, including on trees. We were also able to see just a few seconds ago rain. It's been raining sideways on top of the debris, which is probably not helping the situation. We know that there are crews there right now. As you can see, a man is walking into the building, into that structure. We've been seeing canine dogs as well. And we also know that they have a command center. Broward Sheriff's Office has a command center set up nearby with 3 different tents, 3 different colored tents, and we're not sure what those colors mean. It has been confirmed to us, though, that there are no fatalities. This was told to us by the Plantation Police Department, but it is unclear how many victims there are, if any, but we do know there are certain people receiving treatment. We're not sure if that means they're receiving treatment on scene or at nearby hospitals. There is little information that the officials have been able to give us because, of course, as you can see, this happened very recently. It happened either late morning or early afternoon. Again, we're talking about Plantation. It's a shopping center called The Fountains, located on Peters Road and South University Drive. We're focusing in right now, the chopper, on the LA Fitness. You can see the letters literally have been knocked off or shuffled around. We can see that there is a drone that seems to be flying in that area. We're not sure exactly what it is for, but we are, of course, assuming that this is part of the crews that are there. They're trying to ascertain the damage. It's a gas explosion. That's all that we've been told. We do not know the root, the cause of it. We do not know where it came from. We have not been told by police yet how many victims there are. You could see a palm tree even that has been knocked down. Pieces of this building are scattered throughout. Crews have told us, again, there are no fatalities, but as far as we have seen right there, you can also see it seems to be part of a larger shopping center. It's not just the LA Fitness. We're seeing a part of another building that's ceiling has been completely blown off, and we can also see the pieces of that roof that are still on are completely contorted and ruined. We're going to go now with Alina Machado, who's going to give us more in the studio.
Yeah, Natalia, for those of you who, again, are just joining us, the images really speak for themselves. This is chopper video of the scene in Plantation. You can see what's actually moving away a little bit right now from the seems like the epicenter of this explosion, but you can see the debris is scattered all over this parking lot just in Plantation. It's a shopping center where there's an LA Fitness and there are other stores there. And from what we can tell from the video that we're looking at, and we're all looking at this together live right now, again, the information is trickling in. Obviously, authorities are very busy right now trying to figure out who needs help, what the situation is, what maybe the cause is. But you could see that it seems the brunt of the damage from this explosion is just next to LA Fitness from that shopping center. I'm unclear of how connected it is to LA Fitness, but it looks like it's right next to it. LA Fitness building obviously had some damage. Now, if you're just joining us, you're looking at live video of an explosion. Authorities are telling us there was an explosion at a Plantation shopping center. Just a little while ago, Plantation Fire Department tweeted that this was due to gas. This was a gas explosion at this shopping center. This all happened in the 800 block of South University Drive. You can see there, it's the Market on University shopping plaza, it seems, based on what I'm looking at from the chopper right now. We know that there were several people who were hurt. We don't have that number yet, exactly how many of them there were, how many people were injured. We don't know the extent of the injuries. We don't know which hospitals they were taken to. So in terms of trying to get that information, we are working on that. Authorities have set up a media staging area just north of the scene. We have a reporter on the ground, Arlene Borenstein. She's the first reporter there, kind of looking at the situation, talking to witnesses, gathering information for us, and she is working on determining exactly where these patients were. Again, it's Saturday afternoon. Many people out running errands. This is a shopping center. A lot of people out doing what they do on a Saturday afternoon, late Saturday morning. So you can imagine that there were a lot of people in this area, especially at LA Fitness on a Saturday morning. I know a lot of people do that. So again, you're looking at live images from Chopper HD of an explosion, the scene, 800 block of South University Drive. Authorities in Plantation are urging people to avoid this area if you can. They want you to avoid the area of University Drive and Peters Road. Again, there's a command post. We have a reporter on the scene. We're working on getting this information. Natalia is joining me here on the set.
That's right, Alina. We have team coverage on this because this is a huge destructive event that's happened right here in our area in Plantation. As you were saying, we know that this intersection, it's South University Drive and Peters Road. Plantation Police Department is there, and they have confirmed that there are no fatalities. That is the good news we can share with you right now that we have. But what is unclear is how many victims there are. We know that we've been hearing there is a command center that's been set up nearby at a Chili's restaurant very nearby, but we're not sure exactly what that entails, if they're treating people on scene, if they've taken them to area hospitals, and what their possible injuries may look like, what the extent of that may be. We do know, and has been confirmed, this is a gas explosion, and we're seeing right now the images of this shopping center, which includes an LA Fitness. That's the larger structure that you see there. And then there is also a building across from that, which is vertical. You can also see the top part of that structure. The roof has been completely blown off.
And it looks like that's really where the brunt of the explosion happened. Most of the damage, you see it there, and from what it appears, it doesn't look like from the helicopter that this building was necessarily, it may have been connected to the LA Fitness building. We really don't know. The destruction is so extensive there that it's hard to tell. Now, it looks like firefighters are there on the scene. focusing on this part of the shopping center, where again we could see from the air that the extensive damage is.
Yeah, and I think that it looks to me as if it's a separate structure completely, but like you said,
it's just so hard to tell from the amount of destruction.
It's hard to tell because we don't know if perhaps part of that structure that was connected perhaps was part of the structure that's no longer there because of this explosion.
You know, I know Arlene Borenstein again is there on the scene. I don't know if we can go to her now. Okay, so she's working right now and gathering some information, but as soon as she's available, we'll bring her in and kind of have her set the scene for us, tell us what she's been hearing from witnesses and what she's seeing also as well.
I will say she spoke to someone just a few minutes ago who said that he felt the explosion and it felt like a force coming towards him. So I think it's important to note that there were people there, and if they weren't in the actual building of the LA Fitness or the other building that you're seeing, the narrow building across from the LA Fitness, they were certainly in the area and they were close enough that they could feel the impact of this destruction. We said before, Plantation Police Department has confirmed that no one has died because of this, but we do not know the extent of the injuries of the people who were there and how many people may have been there. We were looking earlier at these images where we saw even trees that had fallen over, so this was definitely very strong.
I mean, when you see the images, they're jarring. They're difficult to watch. I mean, this is the extent of the destruction here is bad.
I mean, how scary, right? Like, let's put ourselves in the situation of somebody who was there at that moment. I mean, we know that even sometimes the sound of fireworks or even a gunshot can, of course, startle us or be scary, but to see the extent of the destruction here, the sound and the force and even maybe the vibration that may have been caused by this, I think would have been scary to anyone, not just in those buildings or the parking lot, but maybe even blocks away.
Right, so we want to actually show you some images as well of the traffic being redirected. Again, traffic is blocked off at Peters and University Drive. If you're out running errands, if you're going to be going out, just avoid this area right now. You can see some emergency vehicles trying to get through. Again, traffic is being redirected in that area. And again, you know, Plantation Fire tweeted basically saying that this was a gas explosion, again, on the 800 block of South University Drive in Plantation.
That's right. And also, we saw in images earlier, these chopper video, a Broward Tech Rescue Team truck that had arrived to the scene. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but actually right now, there they are. They are zooming into them right there, the Broward Sheriff's Office Fire Rescue's Technical Rescue Team. So what exactly their job is at this moment in that situation has not been told to us, but we also see several ambulances there.
That looks like a staging area. Yeah, that looks like a staging area to me. Maybe where they're gathering and getting ready to, you know, they always have a focal point where they go to when they're dealing with these kinds of situations.
I mean, and look at that car, Alina, right there, the black car that's got some sort of white debris on top of it. And again, we're hoping that nobody was in these cars as this happened, as these pieces were falling upon them.
But you have to imagine that it's a Saturday morning, late morning or early afternoon. We don't know the exact time that this explosion happened, but we know that a lot of people are out running errands, even though it is a rainy Saturday. And you would think that a lot of people were in this shopping center, maybe going to the gym. We're unclear exactly what kinds of stores are in this shopping center. We're working to get that information. But we do know that several people have been hurt. Again, we don't know the extent of their injuries. We don't know yet which hospitals they were taken to. So if you had a family member who was at the shopping center who you believe may have been in this area and you can't get a hold of them, we are working on getting that information for you.
Yeah, and I do want to point out right now, Alina, you can see the chopper is zooming in on this part of the destruction, which basically is just the bones of this building that's been left, right? I mean, all you see here is the skeleton of a structure. There are no walls. There is no ceiling. I don't even see furniture or anything of the sort. So really, I mean, it has destroyed a large part of a building significantly. It's not something that we see every day, and certainly we haven't seen something like this in South Florida in quite some time at least. Right now we can see canines surveying the area with a firefighter next to him, and so we are seeing that they're now going into that LA Fitness part, it seems, of the shopping center. Trees have been knocked down, and we can see people inside the other structure right now walking around. It seems so far from what they've told us that there's nobody that's ill or that's been injured inside right now. That it seems like, I think they're all out, but we don't know.
I mean, the information is very preliminary right now, but we want to go to Arlene Borenstein, who is there on the scene. And Arlene, kind of set the stage. What are you seeing from your vantage point? Well, where are you and what are you seeing?
Apologies about that. We're just kind of scrambling, getting witnesses who are all here staged at a first watch. I would say about less than half a mile away from the LA Fitness. I want to first give you an idea of where we are here. You can see they have totally blocked this area off. Again, about a half mile. There's police and fire departments here from several cities. I can tell you I've seen Plantation, Sunrise, Fort Lauderdale. We're right off of Peters and University. So this is a thoroughfare people would normally take to get on 595, 95. Don't take it because it is blocked off. They're trying to figure out exactly what happened here. No official word, but by all accounts, people have told me that there's been word of gas being smelled in the area and obviously a huge boom type explosion. I want to bring in someone here. I have you here. You worked at a store nearby, a taekwondo place where there were actually children inside, and you just started seeing tiles falling from the ceiling. Tell me about that.
Well, we were actually holding class, so we had a bunch of kids who were maybe younger than 6, and then we had some, all age range. We were training and we were in the middle of doing it, and we heard a big boom, and then there was dust in some of the ceiling tiles. They didn't completely come down, but they shifted down. So there's actually an area where it was like dented down, and the kids started freaking out. So we all started evacuating, and then we all started running out to check because it literally sounded like something went off right next to us. And then we found out that we could smell gas coming from one side, and then we started smelling smoke. So we knew something happened over there.
Right. So you're about a half mile away, and your taekwondo location actually felt the boom, the explosion.
Yeah, the doors were closed shut, and they all just kind of blew open, and then everything vibrated and shake. One kid goes, "Can we have earthquakes?" He was freaking out because he thought it was like that.
Yeah.
So.
And you're actually an EMT who went up to one of the crews to offer your help. Is that right? Because of the intensity of that explosion.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much for offering and your service. So coming back here now, there is a media staging area. We're waiting to get official information. We don't believe anything has been given yet, but I will tell you that by video, people have been kindly offering and showing me the pizza restaurant that was impacted directly, where we believe the explosion initiated, again, by witness accounts, is pretty much obliterated. We were speaking to someone inside LA Fitness who said he saw cinder blocks from the pizza location that was just adjacent to the LA Fitness, where they believe the explosion, we're told, was not at the LA Fitness, but at a pizza restaurant nearby. Cinder blocks from that restaurant hitting the LA Fitness. The racquetball court glass windows where people play racquetball inside LA Fitness completely blown out. We were told that there were kids inside a swimming class at the LA Fitness at the pool, part of the British Swim School, we were told. Also, the kids care, where people leave their kids as they work out, had to be rushed out of there. But the good news is that we hear none of the kids were seriously injured. I did see a little girl who was in there. Her father confirmed she was not doing well in terms of just shaken up and emotional, as you can imagine, her mother holding her very closely. Now, the implications of all this, we don't know just yet. We were told that someone had an injury to their leg. We were told that they were looking for people in there, possible missing people. However, that is not confirmed, but there is a search effort right now going on through that LA Fitness. We are going to continue to follow this story as I get more and more witness accounts and videos. We will, of course, bring those to you. We also, I wanted to say, we have someone, an employee with us, Ken Burke. Let me bring you in before I go. Ken, you were at a Chick-fil-A. How far away?
Right. I was Chick-fil-A with my wife about a half a mile away, and it was around 11:25, and I felt my car shake. And I asked her when she came out if she heard or felt anything. She was in the restaurant at the time. She said she didn't. And then I dropped her off for an appointment. I came to Lucky's Market to get some shopping done, and I saw some people milling about in gym clothes, just wandering sort of aimlessly, almost zombie-like. And I just followed the police lights and the fire, and I actually was able to get up to by the pizza place in front of the LA Fitness. I took some video, of course. And yeah, the pizza place had been closed for about 8 months, and one of the witnesses I spoke to had told me that a couple of weeks ago there were some property management people in there, and ever since the lights have been on nonstop. And this morning she said that other folks had smelled gas. So the pizza place is totally gone, and whatever was expelled from the explosion hit the LA Fitness, and there's a yogurt place, the other shops in the shopping mall to both sides all sustained damage.
A pretty huge explosion. Again, no official word, but your car did shake.
Yes, it did.
To give you an idea, and something that another gentleman told me who didn't want to go live with us, that he was at Carrabba's just chopping up tomatoes when all of a sudden they had to start evacuating customers because a water pipe burst in there. Everyone was okay, but you know what? One of his first thoughts was the earthquakes in California. That's the intensity of what people felt out here. So again, no official confirmation about a gas explosion. We did hear and see videos of people being treated on the scene, but we are waiting to get official confirmation. Again, we just want to let you know, Peterson University here in Plantation closed off, I'm going to guess, about a mile so that crews can come in and come out. This is a way you can get to 595 and 95 and other highways here, but you should steer clear of this area. Possible alternates right now, maybe 441, but this is a serious situation going on here. We've heard from several different witness accounts that they are still searching through that LA Fitness to make sure everybody is okay and safe and sound. We're going to be following this throughout the day with much more information, videos, and witness accounts. For now, we're live in Plantation. Arlene Borenstein, NBC 6 News.
Arlene, we want to give our viewers a quick update from Plantation Police. They're saying that all stores and businesses in the area of the Fountains Plaza and the Plantation Marketplace Plaza near LA Fitness will be shut down until further notice. And this is again until fire personnel can determine that it is safe to return. Again, they are asking people not to go out into that area if possible. And Natalia, from that witness, it seems like people were feeling this, the full force of this explosion up to a half mile away.
And possibly more. We don't know yet how big this explosion was in terms of what they felt, but he did describe an earthquake-like sensation, which called my attention, at least, because we know that we are not familiar with that feeling here in Florida.
Right.
So that must have been something very different. And I also want to reiterate that Plantation Fire, as we know, Alina has recently put out a tweet confirming that it is indeed a gas explosion, and it happened right there at the 800 block of South University Drive. Multiple victims.
Right.
That's what we have.
We
so
don't
far.
have an exact number. And again, this is we're very early on in this stage. I mean, when you look at the extent of the destruction, you know that they are just starting to get a grasp of the situation. How many people, Arlene mentioned that they are out there searching for potential victims. Correct. So at this point, we want to be very cautious and very conservative with what we are saying, because we really don't know how many people were hurt and just the extent of the damage and the injuries here.
That's right. What we do know, what Plantation Police has confirmed to us, is that there are no fatalities. So as far as we know, that is the better news, I could say. I don't know that there's any good news here, but the better news in all of this. But I want to now focus in on what we're seeing, which is this structure, the LA Fitness. Even the letters are hanging off here. At first, I think we all thought it was at the LA Fitness, but now it's more seeming like it may have been around the LA Fitness, not the building. In fact, that's across from it, that's vertical, shows that its ceiling has been completely blown off. We see the parking lot with pieces of debris widespread, even on top of cars. There we see some of the windows being blown out, and look at that, just that pile of rubble. That grid that's just been left completely empty, with no walls, with no anything surrounding it. And we were also able to see some trees that had fallen, etc. So it's definitely a very, very serious incident that we're seeing here. And right there you can see crews from fire departments and such that are in the area surveying, and probably also, of course, with their rescue efforts.
And so just to recap, in case you're joining us at this hour, it's 1:20 on Saturday afternoon. We are at the scene of what appears to be a gas explosion in Plantation at a shopping center. You're looking at live images right now. That LA Fitness is directly next to the strip mall. It seems like where the epicenter of this explosion was. This is the 800 block of South University Drive. Authorities have shut down the roads Peters and University. Shut down. They're redirecting traffic, so again, avoid this area. This is very preliminary information because this is the early stages of this investigation, but authorities are saying that there are several people who were hurt. We don't know how many people were hurt. We don't know the extent of the injuries. We also don't know exactly which hospitals they were taken to. But again, if you have family members who you believe were in this area, we are working on getting that information for you. And just to reiterate, do not go out to this area. Authorities don't want you there. They have emergency crews and personnel moving in and out of this area. They need to get through. So if you can help them out by avoiding the area, I'm sure they would appreciate it. Some of the businesses that we're told are in this shopping center, Code Ninjas, Kids Dental Place, Jenny Craig, Dragon Gourmet Buffet.
That's right. There's also a pizza restaurant that Arlene, our reporter who's on the field, mentioned. She said she spoke to witnesses who said that it seemed that the explosion may have been close to that restaurant, but that has not been confirmed, though.
And several witnesses did tell Arlene that they sensed a strong smell of gas right before they felt the explosion. And again, Plantation Fire has come out and said in a tweet that they believe that this was a gas explosion.
It was, whatever it was, of course, we know now it's a gas explosion, was definitely huge because we've already spoken to two witnesses, one who was at a Chick-fil-A a half-mile away, somebody was at a Taekwondo place also a half-mile away, and both of those people sensed and felt the explosion. So you can imagine the impact and the force with which this happened. And just by what you're seeing right there, I mean, this is not just anything. These are pieces of a building. It seems like concrete. And she was also describing witnesses who had said to her that cinder blocks were flying off. So it's definitely not something that was small or minor. I think you can see right now that structure there with other businesses that's across from that LA Fitness and what that looks like. That skeleton, that structure that's completely blown off its ceiling.
Yeah, and a person who spoke to Arlene out there on the scene, he said that he believes a pizza place or the pizza place that's in that area may have been closed for a few months. So we don't know if they were doing any work on it or what the situation was. We don't know if anybody was inside. We don't even know at this point, authorities haven't come out and said yet, whether this explosion happened at that pizza place. But I know people were saying, kind of focusing on that area because of the extent of the damage that we're seeing.
That's right. And we don't know how close that pizza place is to this LA Fitness and that other building that's across from the LA Fitness. So we're not sure exactly, you know, what else could have been damaged, what other structures could have been damaged. We don't know if that pizza place was in that vertical looking building that is across in that same shopping center. Again, we want to mention the shopping centers involved in this or that are affected by this according to authorities. One of them is the Fountains. The other one is the Plantation Marketplace Shopping Center. Both of these are near the South University Drive and Peters Road. That is the 800 block of South University Drive. And again, we cannot stress enough to not frequent that area, stay away from it because, of course, as you might imagine, this is no small incident. This is something that is shut down some streets in the surrounding areas, and officials need your cooperation so that they have enough space, enough time, enough, you know, just the streets are cleared so that they're able to do their job and perhaps continue treating people. Like they said before in their tweet, there are multiple victims.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, from what we can tell from the chopper, we haven't been able to see any specific area where they are triaging people. I mean, I can't see it. I don't know if you've seen it, no. Natalia. And I don't believe Arlene has mentioned it just yet. We do know that there are people who were injured and they were hurt in this, and but again, we don't know the extent of their injuries. Authorities have not come out yet to speak to us about these details, and it's understandable. I mean, they're quite busy trying to get to the people who may be injured, who may still be in those buildings.
And their first priority is to them, and of course we understand that, but we are here to inform you as to what we see, and what you're seeing on your screen via that chopper video is a structure that has been completely destroyed. At least part of it has been, and you see the windows that have been blown out of that LA Fitness on Plantation and South University Drive. Again, that's in a shopping plaza called the Fountains on the 800 block of South University Drive. It's definitely something that seems like it would have been very scary for anybody that was in or around that area. In fact, people So far, people that we've spoken to that were up to a half-mile away at other businesses, other places, said they felt it, and one person even described to our reporter who's on the field, Arlene Borenstein, that it felt sort of like an earthquake may have felt.
Yeah, there was a Taekwondo place where there were children having a class this morning, and the instructor came out and spoke with Arlene and said that they were scared. They thought they were feeling an earthquake. They had never felt an earthquake before. And it ended up being just the ripple effect of this major explosion that happened at the shopping center in Plantation.
Right, and it's also again been confirmed by Plantation Fire that it was a gas explosion, but we do not know the root cause of this explosion. We do not know where exactly it happened. They have not informed us as to which of the businesses, and we're right now seeing, you see on your split screen, we see two different structures right now. So we're not sure if these are two of the same. I think they may be two different, or it may be,
because there's the LA Fitness, so it might be the building that's on the other side, of that parking lot.
Correct. Fortunately, Plantation Police has said that nobody has died. There are no fatalities, but there are multiple victims, and we do not know the extent of their injuries. However, from what we're seeing here, I mean, I do think it's quite miraculous that nobody has died.
Well, and I think it's early in this process, right? I think crews are, we saw some firefighters in some of these buildings, and we would imagine that at this point they're also searching for potential victims who may be trapped and just they haven't been found yet. So, what we do know, according to Plantation Police, is that several people have been hurt. The extent of the injuries, which hospitals they were taken to, if they were transported, we haven't been given that information just yet. But you can imagine, when you look at that LA Fitness, the force of that blast was pretty impactful. Yeah. And you would imagine that it's a Saturday. A lot of people are out running errands at the gym. Doing what they can. It's summertime and it's raining too, so people are looking for indoor activities. So I hate to think how many people were out there when this explosion rocked this area.
Yeah, I mean, by the cars right there, you can see that even the cars were affected. So perhaps people who were outside of the gym itself, not necessarily people who were inside the building or the buildings that we're talking about here, were affected. We know trees, we've seen palm trees that have been knocked over, and pieces of ceiling that you can see right there on the right-hand side of your screen that's been completely twisted, garbled up, and just looks completely unrecognizable. We see on the left-hand side of your screen some firefighters in the area, surveying the area. Arlene Borenstein, our reporter who's on the field, has already told us that search and rescue efforts are in effect right now. They're going on. So, of course, Alina, as you said, that means that this is still very preliminary. We don't know exactly how many people have been hurt, but as of right now, Plantation Police did tweet that there were multiple victims, no fatalities. Of course, we are here for you. We're here to continue informing you. This is a very fluid situation. It's continuing to develop, and that may change.
We want to kind of recap where we are right now. It is 1:30, a Saturday afternoon, and you are looking at live images from our helicopter of this massive debris field in Plantation, where the Plantation Fire Department is saying that this was a gas explosion at this shopping center. And here's the information is trickling in right now. As you can see, this is an extensive scene. Authorities are telling us several people were hurt in this explosion. No word yet on the cause of this explosion. And again, all businesses in this area, we're talking about the shopping plaza where LA Fitness is, near Peters and University, 800 block of South University Drive. Those businesses are shut down indefinitely. Now, we have a reporter on the scene, Arlene Borenstein. She's been tracking this since it happened, essentially, and she's going to join us live now to kind of set the scene. Arlene, what do you know? What are you hearing from people who were there?
Natalia, I can tell you it was very difficult getting to where we are standing. There were dozens of fire crews, police officers, law enforcement from multiple cities and agencies, because people described this as an explosion that felt much like an earthquake. They were stunned. The folks in the LA Fitness, where we talked to many of them earlier, that explosion didn't even happen inside the LA Fitness, yet windows and doors were blown off. We were told. We have someone here who's actually actually working in the strip mall nearby. If you don't mind joining us here now, tell us, you were just at work chopping tomatoes, as you said, at Carrabba's. Tell us exactly what happened.
Just as you said, just minding my own business, getting ready for the busy lunch shift, and just slicing up some tomatoes, and all of a sudden just felt a huge explosion, boom. I mean, everything just lifted up. Ceiling tile started to cave in, just as you had mentioned. Not that I've ever experienced what an earthquake felt like, but immediately that's what I thought to my mind because of all the earthquakes happening in California. But then I came to my senses and thought, well, wait a minute, this is Florida. So then all of a sudden, we just looked at each other, and our general manager, Joey, said, okay, everybody, let's get out of here. So like I said, we had about 4 or 5 tables inside, so we made sure that all the guests got out safely. We took another turn in the building to make sure all the employees got out safely, and just like I said, I mean, everything just caved in. You see pipes busted, water all over the place. So as soon as we walked out, we noticed immediately that there were some doors blown out, and then we walked over to ground zero, and I mean, it just looked like a huge mess. Everything was just blown up, debris on the street. We did see this one gentleman, I'm assuming he was working out because he was in his workout gear. Some good Samaritans were tending to his leg. I don't know if he got a huge laceration or what cut on his leg, but there was a pool of blood right there, so it looked like they were doing like some type of tourniquet on there. So hopefully he's okay. But yeah, it was intense.
So how close were you to where the pizza location, we understand, everybody believes where it initiated? How close were you to that?
I'd say about 100, 150 yards away. We're at the other end of the plaza, so I mean, it was just an intense explosion. Yeah.
And looking at the video you shared with us, it looks like it's basically obliterated. You see beams. Describe what you saw compared to what you knew it looked like before.
It was something like out of a movie. I wouldn't know what a war zone looks like, but that's the best I can describe it. I mean, like I said, you know, if you look at the LA Fitness, which is right across from it, windows are all blown out. People were walking out, helping each other out of there. Ground zero, I guess it was at the pizza place. I'm not too sure yet, though, but it was just obliterated. Just a mess, obliterated.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us, and we'll connect with you soon. Thank you. So a lot of this has been people in the area taking videos, knowing that something was wrong, so they immediately took action. At the LA Fitness, there's of course children in kids care, and at a swim school inside the pool at LA Fitness, and parents and obviously employees at the LA Fitness rushing, scrambling to get these children out of there. There were some reported injuries. We saw video of people injured being tended to. We also heard several accounts of that as well. They have shut down the businesses in that general area in order to just make sure everything and everybody is okay. We've heard of cinder blocks being blown several feet, so obviously the explosion not being contained to that one location, but having ramifications across several of these businesses. We had an employee at NBC who was eating at a Chick-fil-A further away, and he said his car shook when the gas explosion happened. Excuse me, what we believe is a gas explosion, only because we were told by several people out here that they did smell gas in the area. We have not received official confirmation of a gas explosion. However, people did tell us that that is what they smelled several hours before this explosion. There was a pizza restaurant near that LA Fitness that was closed down for several months, and that is where it is believed by several witnesses that that explosion initiated. Again, it was not at the LA Fitness. We spoke to a witness inside when that explosion happened inside the LA Fitness, and he said he was on one of the machines. He had his headphones on, so the sound was muffled, but he still could hear it. And then, of course, it was a mad dash to get out of there. Ceiling fans coming down, a big cloud of dust in the air. I want to show you again the scene behind us here. This, again, is right off of Peters Road and University. There's a Publix here. They have shut this area down. Part of it, we understand, is a fear that another explosion could happen. Again, we are not getting official confirmation on exactly what has happened, but we did hear a smell of gas in the area. I want to show you this road closure here. Peters and University is shut down. I spoke to one of the police officers also on scene. Southwest 78th Avenue at Southwest 6th Street is shut down, and University Drive at Southwest 6th Street shut down. Of course, University Drive, a major thoroughfare for this area if you're trying to get to 595 or 95. We are going to stay on this. We've seen videos of that pizza restaurant that we can't get close to because we have been asked to stay about a half-mile away. You see the beams exposed. It does not look like it had ever been a restaurant. This explosion, pretty massive for this area, affecting many businesses. The Type 1 a Taekwondo, a woman who worked at a Taekwondo location. She said she had to evacuate all her children. They are all okay. And we did hear that most of the children, if not all of them, are okay at this time. That's the good news. Back to you guys in the studio.
Arlene, it's Alina and Natalia here. You know, we are, first of all, awaiting a press conference from Plantation Fire Rescue. We're hoping to hear from them very soon. But they did tweet out, they did say earlier that this was due to a gas explosion. Again, this is all very preliminary information, but it appears that that's what they're thinking is the root cause of this. Arlene, while we have you where you are, you said you're about a half a mile away from the epicenter of this explosion. But have you seen any emergency vehicles coming and going from the area?
Yes, so a lot of what we're getting, since we've been asked to be so far away, are videos. You know, one of our employees, Ken Burke, jumped into action, getting a lot of initial videos of people being treated on the scene. So we do know, and we also have verbal confirmation from others who saw people getting injured, and we did see emergency crews. We want to toss to this press conference here for more information for you guys.
This could have, as bad as it is, it could have been a lot worse because, like I said, the LA Fitness was occupied, so it could have been tremendously worse. But again, we're still searching, we're still looking, and everything at this point is tentative.
Were there flames?
Hang on. Technical failure. Who just got an earful? Oh, that helps. Sorry about that.
We are, obviously you're looking here at a live video, a live feed of from the chopper, and earlier you were hearing from Plantation Fire Rescue, and they're back. Let's go back to them.
So we wouldn't necessarily see flames, and we didn't in this case.
And you, just to clarify, you said that crews did find a ruptured gas line at the pizza restaurant, but it's just not confirmed that that would be the cause.
No, we found ruptured gas lines among the rubble. I can't tell you exactly where they're coming from at this point.
Which building occupies the end of the strip mall across the LA?
That is a strip of stores. There's several small installations that run up the side there. The one on the corner is the vacant pizza store, or the empty pizza store.
Would you please give the hospital information on the two transported again?
To Broward Health Medical Center. Unknown right now. All right, so that's all I have at the moment. I'll try and get more in a little while. If you guys give me about an hour, all right, and I'll try and get back to you then if I have anything else. Is that fair enough? All right, great. Thank you.
Is it Joe or Joel with an L?
L.
So this is Plantation Fire Rescue just updating reporters there on the scene, and some of the new information that came out is that crews have found ruptured gas lines in the rubble as they've been searching the area. They're also confirming that struck the store that was right in that corner of that strip mall where the epicenter seems to be.
Correct.
Was a vacant pizza shop, which is something that some witnesses had previously told our reporter on the scene there, Arlene Borenstein.
That's right, and they also said that the people who were being treated at Broward Health Medical Center. He said this is still very preliminary, so even he doesn't know exactly the extent of the injuries, and he said his exact words were, everything right now is tentative. So they are still in search and rescue efforts right now. They're on the scene, as you can see right there, walking through this parking lot of this shopping center where this LA Fitness and also where this other building was. That it seems it was a strip mall with several businesses. Perhaps that seems to be the place where this pizza store, pizza restaurant was. That a lot of people are mentioning as something that may have had something to do with this, but we do not have confirmation of anything right now except for the fact that they have not found any fatalities so far. We know this happened on South University Drive and Peters Road in Plantation. We know that it was a gas explosion. A Broward Tech rescue team truck is there. You can see right there, I mean, it's so evident how huge this explosion was that it didn't even actually happen, it seems, at the LA Fitness, and yet it was impacted severely by this. The ceiling of the other building across from the LA Fitness completely blown off, trees fallen, and many cars as well damaged by this debris that seems to have flown for quite some distance.
So we, again, want to remind people that all stores and businesses in the area of Fountains Plaza and Plantation Marketplace are shut down. And we want to also give you an update on the number of people who were injured in this apparent gas explosion at the shopping center. We're being told that 15 to 20 people were injured in this. We also are being told that they're still searching the collapse area for any potential victims, but at this point they do believe that they have accounted for everyone. No one found was trapped, which is also good news. And the gas leak was apparently active when authorities arrived on the scene to this of this explosion. Yeah,
what we don't know is exactly what time it happened. We know the time frame, which was either late this morning or early this afternoon. We know that it has obviously impacted multiple people, 15 to 20 victims, as Alina just mentioned to you. The PIO, in other words, the spokesperson for the Plantation Police Department and Fire, told us that there are no fatalities. Obviously, this is such a huge destruction that the surrounding streets are closed off, and you should avoid the area if you live or frequent that area of Plantation. Of course, keep in mind that a lot of the roads are going to be closed. A major thoroughfare, of course, South University Drive as well. Right now, that's what we have. The LA Fitness that you see there that is in that shopping center called the Fountain, severely impacted by this devastation.
Yeah, and he was talking about how, and a direct quote is, as bad as it is, it could have been a lot worse, and that's because that LA Fitness had a lot of people in it.
Yes.
A lot of people are out. It's a Saturday, late morning, early afternoon. People are out running errands, going to the gym, children taking swim lessons at the LA Fitness. And so, of course, when you look at these images and you see the extent of the damage and the destruction in this area, it's really remarkable that it wasn't worse.
It really is. I mean, right now, like he said just a few moments ago, the information that he's bringing us is tentative. They're still deep in the search and rescue mission. But at this point, what we know is that there are 15 to 20 victims. If you're just tuning in, what you're seeing right now is the image of a shopping center in Plantation on South University Drive and Peters Road. There has been a gas explosion. That part has been confirmed by Plantation's fire department. They have told us that there are 15 to 20 victims. They are still looking for other people in that rubble. You can see even palm trees have been knocked down, fallen down. A large part of a strip mall has been completely destroyed, even windows blown out. That LA Fitness, even its sign, you know, some of those letters dangling from how large that impact was. We were also speaking to our reporter, Arlene Bornstein, who's spoken to witnesses who were up to half a mile away who felt the impact of that.
Yeah, fire rescue also saying, again, that the gas leak was active when they got to the scene, but they did reiterate that all hazards have been secured, so that leads me to believe that the gas to the area has been shut down. Also interesting to me, something that stood out was that, again, they found ruptured gas lines in the rubble early on, probably an indication of maybe why they thought, aside from the smell and the fact that it was an active leak, that they thought that this was related to a gas explosion.
But that Broward fire official also said that he didn't know where those pipes led to.
Correct.
So we do not know, although we have been hearing from some witnesses on scene with our reporter Arlene Bornstein, that it seems this pizza place, I want to focus right now to what you're seeing on the screen right now. It seems that they're taking someone on a gurney to...
This is actually video from earlier.
Okay.
We're getting this information in just as you are. You're seeing it with us, you're living it with us, and this is actually video from earlier of a patient apparently being transported to the hospital. Again, 15 to 20 people were hurt. They were taken to Broward Health Medical Center. So again, if you have a family member you think was in this area and was potentially hurt in this explosion, maybe you haven't heard from them, you might want to check in with Broward Health Medical Center. It appears that the people who were transported were taken to that.
Right, and you can see here on your screen again, this is video from earlier today of some of those victims, those 15 to 20 victims that the Broward fire official was telling us about. As you said, Alina, they were being taken, according to him, to the Broward Health Medical Center, and this from the shopping center or around the shopping center, right? Because we don't know how far this explosion extended and how many people exactly it affected, because this is still an ongoing thing.
And again, this is at the Fountains Shopping Center. You could see that there are different stores in that area. And just to recap, 15 to 20 people hurt. No word yet of anybody dying in this, which is a bit of good news. But again, this is very preliminary because authorities are still there, still going through the collapse area to see if there are any potential victims that they may have missed, but they do believe that they have accounted for everyone. They're just making sure that everybody has been accounted for. They're also saying no one was found trapped. And there was a lot of talk, Natalia, about this pizza shop. We had the NBC employee who was having lunch at a Chick-fil-A nearby, who told us that he believed that that pizza shop had been closed for a few months. We are being told now by fire rescue that it was vacant. So that pizza shop was vacant. Now, again, we don't know at this point if the gas leak actually happened in that pizza shop. But when you look at the video from the chopper, it does seem that the area where that pizza shop is located, or was located, was the epicenter of the damage. That's where you see the heaviest amount of damage in that area.
Right, that was the part of the building that was most impacted. Again, here what you're seeing is video of one of those 15 to 20 victims being taken to Broward Health Medical Center, according to the Broward fire official that spoke to us just a little earlier. By the way, he says he will be back with us in about an hour, so stay with us, of course, because this is a very fluid story. It's still very new and developing. There are a lot of details that he doesn't even know himself, right? He used the word tentative when he was giving us all the information. So it's possible that there may be more injuries, but right now, from what they know, they're pretty certain that it's 15 to 20 people who have been injured. Now, the extent of those injuries, what that exactly means, it looks like in their lives, we don't know yet.
What we are being told is that one of those injuries was a trauma transport. So again, that could be any sort of injury. It could be. But we are told that they were transported as a trauma patient, which is obviously a very high level of care.
Yeah, and one of the people who was speaking to Arlene, he was a witness and he saw one of the victims. He described one of the injuries as a laceration to the leg, and of course said that there was a lot of blood. Of course, to be expected with this, and actually it seems like we're kind of surprised that they have not fortunately found any fatalities on the scene just now, but of course this is still ongoing, and this happened at the Fountains Shopping Center, which is closed, by the way. So if you're in the area or at all, not just around that shopping center, also Plantation Marketplace Shopping Center, or anywhere near South University Drive and Peters Road, keep in mind those roads, many of the roads around there will be closed. Of course, they need to have the roads clear so that they can continue the search and rescue efforts that they are right now holding. And you can see right there, it's so scary what they must have been through, the people who were in that LA Fitness or in that shopping center, because the debris is scattered all over the street.
Yeah, when you see the images, I mean, you can get a sense of just how powerful that explosion was. I mean, there's debris scattered. There's a pretty large debris field there, and people were saying that they were feeling the impacts of that explosion probably at least half a mile away.
At least, yeah. They were saying that there was a Taekwondo place where some children were taking classes, and the parents actually felt the explosion, and as well as, of course, inside the LA Fitness, but the Chick-fil-A that's a half a mile away. One of our NBC employees who was there also spoke to us and also mentioned feeling the impact of this force. Someone else said it felt sort of like an earthquake-like sensation, which right there tells you how strong this must have felt to people who perhaps weren't exactly in that location where that LA Fitness is located.
Yeah, I think there were some children in that Taekwondo place that mentioned to their instructor that they thought they were feeling an earthquake. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk in the news about earthquakes because of what's been going on in California in the last couple days. But yeah, I mean, it was a very, very impactful explosion. Again, 15 to 20 people hurt in this explosion. And when you look at the video from the helicopter, it's pretty remarkable that there weren't more. It's a Saturday,
oh my gosh, yes.
You know, early afternoon, late morning, people out running errands, people at the gym. We're not sure how many people were out there, but obviously you would imagine that there were a lot of people out out and about, even though it is a rainy Saturday.
Of course, but you know, LA Fitness, and this LA Fitness doesn't look, it looks like a typical LA Fitness is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't look smaller than the usual. They're usually large buildings.
And they're pretty busy places to be on the weekends.
So it's not a place where we imagine there would have been very few people, and we don't know, of course, exactly how many. We don't know how many of the people that were victims came out of that LA Fitness.
Right, so out of the 15 to 20 people, we don't know how many were at the LA Fitness or how many people were in other places, but authorities are saying that no one was found trapped, so that's a bit of good news. Yeah. And again, they are still searching the collapse area. So when they say the collapsed area, we're thinking the epicenter, that aerial video that we see from the helicopter where there's just nothing left. Yeah. That's where they're focusing their efforts, just to make sure that they have found any potential victims who may have been there, who they may have missed.
Yeah, I also want to emphasize the fact that Arlene was talking to somebody who says they smelled a strong smell of gas moments before the explosion, right? So that tells you right there. Of course, Plantation Fire Department has already confirmed it was a gas explosion. However, that also gives us a sense of what people were experiencing just moments before, and perhaps did they sense something was going to happen? I mean, how scary must have that been as well, to be in a place where you smell the gas.
And there's been a lot of talk about that vacant pizza shop. What we don't know is if any work was being done in that pizza shop. We also don't know if if the gas company was out there doing any work. That's information that has not been, nobody has talked about that. We don't know if that's the case. All we know is that there was a strong smell of gas, like you mentioned. People were smelling that moments before that major explosion rocked this shopping center in Plantation.
Yeah, and the fire official who spoke to us just about 15 minutes ago said that their gas leak was still active when they arrived, and he says he didn't know where those gas pipes led to. So again, it has not been confirmed what the origin of that explosion was, where exactly it happened. We have heard from a number of witnesses in the area, from a reporter, that a pizza place, the pizza business that was unoccupied, that was vacant, and it seems to have been located in the corner of that building that received the most destruction, may have played a role. We just don't know how big a role. That has not been confirmed yet. So we don't know where this gas explosion exactly happened, except for near this establishment.
And it's also worth noting that fire officials did say they found ruptured gas lines in the rubble, but they just don't know exactly where they were.
Correct.
They can't say with certainty where they were coming from.
Right. There were businesses up to a half a mile away, though, that felt the vibration, that felt and heard the sound. So that also tells you the extent of the impact that this has caused. It's something that is by no means small. I think it's safe for all of us to say this was a massive explosion that happened in Plantation. And again, if you're just tuning in, we're looking at South University Drive and Peters Road. It's a shopping center called the Fountains, where there is a LA Fitness, and then there's a strip mall in front of the LA Fitness with several businesses, one of which was a pizza business, and then the others we do not know yet. Actually, Alina, you did have some of them.
We do have some names of some of the businesses that are there: Yogurt and Cafe, Code Ninjas, Kids Dental Place. You could see that actually in the helicopter video when they zoomed in near to that area where there's the most damage. Jenny Craig is there, Tropical Smoothie. There's a Carrabba's as well. And this is a heavily populated area. I mean, we're being told that this is about half a mile, maybe a mile away from Broward Mall. There's also residential areas nearby, apartment complexes. So you can imagine that a lot of people probably felt the impact of this explosion, not knowing what they were feeling at that time.
And imagine you're sitting at home and being located somewhere nearby, right? Perhaps living in one of those areas near that shopping center, and hearing that sound or feeling that explosion, the vibration of that explosion. It must have been a very strong one, because as we've been hearing from some of the witnesses on the field with our reporter Arlene Bornstein, I mean, even up to a half mile away, they felt the impact. So that tells you right there that people, multiple other people, I'm sure, have also felt it. People, residents who live in the area, and not knowing what happened, right? Like, where did this come from? Of course, they I'm sure, are tuning in right now and watching as you are, and what you can see there is the massive destruction that has occurred due to what Plantation Fire has already confirmed is a gas explosion. How or where this came from We do not know. What caused this? We do not know. Some people have been saying it may have come from a pizza business that was in the corner of the strip mall. However, that has not been confirmed. Fire officials who have spoken to us they held a press conference just a few minutes ago, said that all the information right now is tentative. And they did say that they found an active gas leak when they arrived, but they don't know where those pipes led to.
And again, we want to reiterate that Plantation Police is asking people to avoid the area of University Drive and Peters Road. Again, this is the area where this massive gas explosion, apparent gas explosion happened. You're seeing the video, the images from this scene. And all the shops, all the stores in that strip mall, we're talking about the Fountains Plaza and the Plantation Marketplace Plaza near LA Fitness, will be shut down. They are shut down right now until further notice.
All right, Alina, and now we're going to go to some viewers' video, cell phone video that was captured by viewers of this explosion, and we want to show you what that looks like right now.
Oh my God, this is crazy. Did any? Oh my God. Ay, carro, ¿dónde está?
You know, you're watching this video right now, just as we are. We're seeing it together for the first time, and what kind of strikes me is just how calm people appear as they're evacuating. It looks like it's the LA Fitness that's being evacuated at that time. You can hear an alarm going off and people trickling out of the gym, but it really gives you a sense of the aftermath.
A lot of people with their cell phones out recording, which I guess is very common nowadays, right? But they don't seem to be panicked, which is, I guess, also good news, right? They're walking out of the building, it seems. We're not sure exactly which of the two buildings. Actually, yes, you're right.
I believe it's the LA Fitness.
It's the LA Fitness. Yeah, they're walking out of the LA Fitness. From that perspective, I can see that. But everything has really, a lot of debris fall into the floor. People don't seem in a mad rush to get out. As you can see, there looks to be more concerned with recording some of that.
Well, you can also imagine you're in the moments after something like that, an explosion like that, people were probably a little confused.
Yeah.
I think it's great that they weren't panicking.
Me too.
We don't know exactly at what point that video was taken, you know, how soon after the explosion that video was taken. But again, we're being told that up to at least 20 people were hurt in this apparent gas explosion at a shopping center in Plantation. The LA Fitness, we just showed you that video. They don't think the explosion happened there. It looks like it happened to the building adjacent to it.
That's right. And what we also know, fortunately so far, again, all this information, even it's admittedly by the fire department, they've said that it's fluid, it's still tentative, but they have not found any fatalities. So what they have told us is that there are 15 to 20 victims who have been taken to Broward Health Medical Center. We know that our reporter said that one of those people, the witnesses that she spoke to, said that they had a leg injury. It seemed like it was a laceration, and it was not very pretty, of course.
Right. It seems like some people who were there were trying to apply a tourniquet on that person. You know, we want to go to JD, a photographer, on the phone. JD, kind of set the scene. What are you seeing?
Well, I'm not at the location. I live in the neighborhood.
Okay. What did you feel?
I'm about a mile and a half away. A little after 11, my house shook. Sliding glass doors just rattled. And it felt like something hit our home. I went out. The neighbor across the street, he came out, and we all felt the same thing. The house just shook. And we're about a block and a half from the turnpike. And that's maybe a mile and a half from University itself.
Can you tell us if you've seen or heard any sirens of emergency vehicles taking patients? Do you know of any of that?
Well, after about 10, 15 minutes, we did hear some sirens. We didn't know what it was, so everybody returned to normal. We didn't know that it was an explosion of such magnitude.
So, JD, you said you felt like something hit your home.
Right, the entire home shook.
That had to have been quite an experience for you.
Right. I went out, looked through everything, looked around, looked through the neighborhood itself, within the block, saw nothing, and just came back home.
Are you familiar with this shopping center at all, JD?
Yes.
Kind of give us a sense of what stores are there, and on a Saturday morning, you know, a little after 11, would it be pretty busy?
It will be busy. LA Fitness has a lot of people there playing basketball, working out, that kind of thing. Carrabba's is on one end, and it's on the opposite end. And I know there was a vacant pizza shop, and then there was an ice cream and about 4 other businesses on that same side as the what used to be the pizza location.
JD, can you tell us, is this a sort of shopping center that people frequented highly, especially during the weekends? Do you get a sense that this is a place that, you know, was kind of desolate, or what would you say?
It's pretty busy because on one end there's a Publix. On the opposite end of the parking lot there's a Publix, and that's usually pretty busy.
Yeah. And you said you didn't know what had hit your house. What went through your mind? I mean, after you couldn't figure it out, what did you think?
I just didn't know. We were just trying to figure out what happened. We thought it was an explosion somewhere, but we just didn't know what type.
You said it felt like something hit your house. Did you hear anything moments before that?
No. It was just all of a sudden a big boom, and the house shaking and the sliding glass doors rattling.
Neighbors, you said, have you talked to any of your neighbors just about what their experience was and what they were saying?
My neighbor across the street had the same experience as his house shaking, and he was out surveying the area also.
To your knowledge, JD, was there any damage to any of the homes around in your neighborhood? It sounds like, you know, you said your sliding glass door was rattling, but I mean, did anything actually get damaged?
No, not that I can see at this point, and not that I've heard.
And again, you say you live about 1.5 miles away from the shopping center where this occurred?
Yes.
Okay, so that's pretty huge. I mean, have you been able to get around? What are the streets like? I mean, we've been hearing about road closures and such.
Well, because I didn't get called in, I didn't go in, and I know I stay away from an area when there's such a thing.
Right.
John, when you look at those images that we've been showing from the helicopter where you see the extent of the damage, what comes to mind? I mean, it has to be difficult to see that kind of destruction in your community.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I'm just glad no one was injured. My daughter had friends that were at the gym. They said they were in the parking lot. I hadn't been able to locate them. They left. They wouldn't be checked out, and I hadn't heard from them. But they're okay, as far as I know. I've been trying to locate them, but they're not there anymore, and I think they want to be checked out.
John, thank you so much for sharing your perspective with us here. What you've been feeling and what you've been seeing, and just to reiterate, authorities did say up to 20 people, at least 20 people were hurt. Again, we don't know the extent of the injuries, but we do know that several people were taken to the hospital.
They were taken to Broward Health Medical Center, and those 15 to 20 people, we don't know what, like you said, what the extent of those injuries were. No fatalities so far. That's what Plantation's fire department has told us, but they have also told us that the information is still very tentative because they are still going and looking around for people. They are trying to see if there's anything else, anybody else that possibly may have been hurt. And of course, they also said that nobody was found trapped in the buildings or under the rubble.
And this is a live look right now. We've been talking about avoiding the area. This is University and Peters Road. You can see that traffic is being diverted again. They're asking people to avoid this area. All the shops in the Fountains Plaza and the Plantation Marketplace Plaza near that LA Fitness that we've been showing you have been shut down for now indefinitely. So again, do not go to this area. They are redirecting traffic at Peters and University.
Yeah. And for those of you who are just tuning in, what we're talking about is a gas explosion. It's been confirmed by Plantation's fire department that a gas explosion occurred in that area on South University Drive and Peters Road, the shopping center where there's an LA Fitness, and then there's a strip mall in front of it. It's called the Fountains, but that's not just been the only one that's been affected. Plantation Marketplace Shopping Center has also been closed by this. The debris that you can see there is massive. What we're looking at is the skeleton, basically, of part of this shopping center. That's all that's been been left. No walls, nothing. I mean, it's irrecognizable. And what we're looking at right now are the fire crews that are on scene searching and trying to treat people that are there. 15 to 20 victims, no fatalities so far.
And again, we want to, you know, there is weather in the area, so what you're looking at is actually not a live video, pictures of the area. This is video from earlier today where you can see the extent of the damage and get a sense of the scene of the situation in that area. But again, we're talking about the area of Peters and University. It's near this area. It's the 800 block of South University Drive. Up to at least 20 people were hurt in this apparent gas explosion. And I say apparent because we're still early on, but everything seems to point in that direction,
correct,
right?
Correct.
Witnesses were saying they had smelled gas shortly before the explosion happened. Fire crews say they found ruptured gas lines in the rubble.
Yes.
Again, they can't say exactly where these gas lines came from, but they did find evidence of ruptured gas lines in the rubble. They're also talking about there's a corner part of that shopping center where there was a vacant pizza shop, and that's where most of the damage, the heaviest damage, seems to be. Again, we don't know though if that's exactly where the gas explosion happened, or we also don't know what triggered this explosion.
Correct. Yeah, what we do know is that the Plantation Fire Department has already tweeted that it was a gas explosion, and it happened on the 800 block of South University Drive. Multiple patients, multiple victims. So far, we know 15 to 20 victims. That is what the fire department official who spoke to us some time ago confirmed to us, but he also mentioned this is still very tentative. Those victims have been taken to the Broward Health Medical Center. I want to also mention, we just got off the phone with one of our employees, a cameraman of many years here at NBC6 WTVJ. He lives a mile and a half away from that shopping center, and he said that his sliding glass doors in his home shook, and that his whole house shook.
Yeah, he said he was startled. It happened just after 11 a.m., that's what he says, and that it felt like something hit his house. He didn't know what was going on, and that several neighbors also had the same experience that he had. He also said that this shopping center would have been pretty busy at that hour on a Saturday morning, especially because of the LA Fitness that you're looking at right now. That is a hot spot on a weekend, especially on a Saturday morning. And we know there were children getting swimming lessons in the pool there.
And he mentioned there's also a Publix in that shopping center, so of course we all know how busy it can get at the supermarkets on Saturdays, either afternoons or at any time, rather. So he definitely said that it would have been a busy site at the moment of that destruction. Again, he lives a mile and a half away, and he felt the impact of this. So we can only imagine how large this explosion was, which we don't know where it came from, what caused it. Fire officials did say that the gas leak was still active when they arrived to the scene, and that they found gas pipes when they were there, but they don't know where they led to just yet.
Now, we should be hearing again from fire officials at some point very soon.
He said
they said
somewhere
about an
2:40,
hour.
but yes,
right.
But again, that can change.
Hopefully within the hour we'll get an update from them. But when we last spoke with them, the hazards had been secured, so that I take that to mean that the gas leak had been stopped.
Correct.
And that they were still searching the collapsed area for any potential victims, but they do believe, at least this is what they told us when they briefed the media a little while ago, they were saying at the time that they believe that most or all the victims have been accounted for. And again, some good news is that no one was found trapped.
Correct.
So that's also a bright light in this whole thing.
Yeah, and my producer just told me that a large residential area is right there located on the other side of University Drive. So if our cameraman, who we just spoke to, lives a mile and a half away, and he felt his sliding glass doors shake and his whole house shake, what must these people who live just on the other side of University Drive, where this happened, have felt?
This is a densely populated area.
Yes.
We're talking about lots of stores, lots of commercial buildings, but also residential, as you were saying.
Yeah.
Lots of homes. My understanding is that there's an apartment complex not too far from there, and Broward Mall isn't too far from there either.
And that strip mall that was destroyed, as you can see, has several businesses, among them Yogurt and Cafe, Code Ninja, Chili's, Tropical Smoothie, Carrabba's, and a Publix. Aside from, of course, the LA Fitness, which is we are all familiar with LA Fitnesses by now. They're not a small gym. Usually they're buildings that are quite large, and we could see that there right in front of the strip mall that happened where it seems to be most affected. And right, you could see, I mean, you can see right through that grid. You can see the beams exposed completely. There are no walls. There is no furniture. So quite a large explosion.
And as we were talking, there are several residential areas in that area very close to the epicenter of this gas explosion. And we want to go to Andrea Martinez. She is in a neighborhood that felt the explosion. And Andrea, you're at a house that actually had damage?
Yeah, I'm in a neighborhood right behind the Fountains Shopping Center on 73rd Avenue, and I spoke to some residents here who were clearly very shaken up. They say it felt like an earthquake. Now, I'm joined by Yania Mendez. Hi, Yania. Thank you for being here. She says that her mother actually goes to that shopping center all the time. Again, she lives right behind where this happened. And Yania, you came home to this mess in your home. There was several things damaged inside of your home.
When I'm coming home, I see everybody outside, the old neighbors outside, looking into the sky. I don't know exactly what happened. That's when I'm asking to my neighbor, he said, no, it's something like explosion, like the whole floor moved, like something really bad. That's when I see is not a news already, nothing, you know. When I see, it's only see the black, like when the fire is coming, you know, but all black. My man go inside to the house, the man stay outside talking with the neighbors, and then
this is what you saw, the damage here.
Yeah, when my man's coming, she see the door is broke, and here is cracked the wall. You see inside, you see the big cracker, and all over here.
So those cracks weren't there before?
No, never before. Look, and this crack too. That's all complete.
And the worst damage was over here by the door. Can you show us that?
Door,
this
yes,
glass door?
Yes, the glass door. When my mom opened the door to take the dogs out, that's when she see, and the whole door is cracked. I'm so nervous right now, you know. I don't know, I feel like something really bad happened here.
Still shaken up?
Yeah, I'm shaking. I'm so nervous right now. I'm inside to the house.
Here we go inside of the house. There's more damage.
I come back, yes. That's that I see my ceiling like crack, you know. All of here is new. On the floor, I see I don't know, but I'm so nervous right now.
No, I know. We understand you're nervous. This is a lot to take in right now. And these are like earthquake-like damages. I mean, we're seeing cracks in the ceiling. Yeah. We're seeing some paint chipped on the floor here.
And you see
we're going to take you back here now to the laundry room.
Go down to the insulation from the ceiling. I have right here the insulation coming from there.
The insulation fell from the ceiling here, as you can see in the laundry room.
Yeah, I have a little bit more there. The insulation go down here. That's I don't know. I'm surprised. I can't believe it. But everybody thinking it's the airplane or something big, but it's the explosion. That's later. I know it's the next to the LA explosion.
Now, you hear from neighbors. Have they also seen some damage to their homes? Have you heard from them?
I don't heard anything, but I'm coming inside. Everybody's outside, you know. I'm stay a little bit outside, but I run inside to try to see the news. That's like for 10 minutes, I don't have any news. Everybody's screaming. Everybody's in check, you know, like what happened. The neighbor in front of the house, I think it's his wife. She's in the Publix, in the mom, and that everybody's so nervous. I don't know, but it's something really impression, you know, really bad when you come inside to your house and you see that's happened.
You walk into this mess.
Yes, that's
scary.
I'm nervous. I'm eating my nails already, you know. I don't know.
Now you said all of this was new. This is a newly remodeled home.
Exactly. The whole house is remodeling. The whole house. That's the only door is not remodeling is this one and that one. That one not happening. But the whole house is remodeling. It's new. That I buy like a year.
And And you said that when you came out here, there were several people outside.
Yes.
There was quite the panic. Residents were outside, little kids were outside, everybody really wanting to know what exactly went on. Like she mentioned, they thought it was an earthquake or that a plane had crashed because, and I think the damage here just shows how strong that image is.
Andrea, we wanted to know if those windows or the sliding glass door that you're standing right in front of, are those impact windows or is it regular glass?
So she says that, so I'll ask you, you mentioned that, are these impact windows?
No, that's the only one. This one is not impact. It's not. That's when my mom come inside and she opened the door, and she not see, but she opened the door for the dogs go outside. She closed it when she's.
So you're looking at live pictures. Unfortunately, the image keeps breaking up that feed, but you could see the extent of the damage just to homes right behind that shopping center. And she was saying that that was not an impact sliding glass door, but it was shattered.
Yeah, that's right. And right now we have Steve McLaughlin, our meteorologist, on the phone. Steve, good afternoon. What can you tell us?
Well, good afternoon, guys. Yeah, I live about a half a mile away from where the explosion was, and I thought we actually had a lightning strike. That's how crazy the shaking was at my house. And I have Category 5 impact windows, and they looked like they were about to break. And then I live next to a high-rise, and everyone was out on their balconies pointing above me, and I couldn't see what it was. And that's when I started looking online and realized, wow, there was this giant explosion. I tried to walk over there, but the police officers would not let me get too far into the actual plaza. So that's why I called in.
Steve, can you repeat, how far do you live from the shopping plaza? And also, second question, is there any damage to the building that you live in?
I don't think there's any damage to the building I live in. I live about a half a mile, so it's like 2 plazas over. But it literally felt like a car had crashed into my building.
And you said you
have
impact windows.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, and what floor, you said you live in a high-rise, what floor do you live on?
I live on the 8th floor, and I literally saw the glass on my giant windows, my giant sliding door shaking. They looked like they were about to buckle. And I looked at the radar, because I knew there were storms around, but I was like, I don't think the storms are that close, and they weren't close enough for lightning. And then again, when I saw everyone pointing at the building next to me, they were kind of pointing toward the direction of the explosion, I knew something had happened, and then I heard all the ambulances and fire trucks headed toward that area.
Steve, I know you said you live in that area. How familiar are you with this shopping center? And give us a sense of what it would be like at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning.
Quite honestly, I'm shocked that we're hearing of only, I don't know what the latest number was, but I believe you reported 20 injuries.
Up to 20, yeah.
That is a very busy spot. I used to actually work out at that LA Fitness. I don't anymore. There's a ton of restaurants. There's the LA Fitness at 11 o'clock on a Saturday is packed. I'm looking at the building right now. I'm watching the live footage. There's actually a restaurant right next door that I go to all the time. I can't believe what that place looks like right now, because it is so packed at this time. I can't believe more people weren't injured. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I think we're all surprised about that. But again, this is tentative. But thank you so much, Steve, for calling in and sharing your experience, since you live only a half mile away.
Okay, great coverage, guys.
All right, thanks so much.
So we want to head over to Broward Health Medical Center, where several of the victims were taken. Again, our understanding is up to at least 20 people were hurt. And Daryl Forges is at the hospital right now. Daryl, what are you seeing? Are you seeing family members showing up?
Well, we haven't really seen any family members, guys. We just got here about 5 minutes ago. As soon as I got here, or as soon as me and our photographer John got here, I immediately walked inside to see if there's any family members inside. There was one person I recognized. He was wearing a LA Fitness polo, and he had an injury to his knee. I spoke to him and asked him about what happened at the shopping plaza. He says that he was working the front desk at LA Fitness and heard the massive explosion. And he said a lot of people in that shopping plaza were rushed to the hospital. As you just said, said over 20 people, including that man I was just speaking with who works at that LA Fitness. But right now he says that he is okay. All he has right now is just a minor injury to his right knee. Some of his managers are actually here as well, talking to him, making sure he is okay. I asked him if he would speak with us about his experience, but he says right now he is too shaken up to be on camera after what he heard and experienced earlier this morning. So far, everything is still fluent. But you all just talked to Steve McLaughlin, as well as JD, our photographer, who lives about a mile or so away from that shopping center. Our photographer working this camera right now, John Aguilar, lives in Sunrise, and he says that he heard that explosion from his home. So that's how loud that explosion was, all the way from Sunrise. So you can imagine how serious and how impactful that explosion was. But once again, I'm still trying to gather some more information from possible victims' family members as we speak. But all I know right now is the main person I spoke with from the LA Fitness tells me that luckily everyone from LA Fitness who was sent to the hospital will be okay, including himself. All he has right now is a minor injury to his right knee. But he says he just could not believe what he saw, and it was just out the blue, sitting at the desk, minding his own business, working the desk there at LA Fitness, and that's when he heard the explosion. It's just incredible to find out that no one has died from this, that over 20 people was rushed to the hospital, and we're still, as you all can imagine, gathering some more information. As soon as I get that, I want to pass that along to you as soon as I can. Ladies, back to you.
Daryl, I want to go back to what you said. I want to stay with you for a moment about the man that you talked to who had an injury to his right knee. Did you get a sense of was it a laceration? Did he get hurt as he was trying to evacuate? Do you know how he was hurt or what he was hurt with?
Well, he really didn't want to speak to us at all. He was just still shaken up. I was able to get a few words out of him just to get what was going on. But once I got asked for more specifics, he really didn't want to get into it. So that was all the information I was able to gather from him, because we wanted to let you know what we're seeing right behind us. But we're still trying to gather more information from him, as well as some more family members, because as you all can imagine, this is still a fresh situation, as family members, I believe, are still arriving to the hospital as we speak. All right, Daryl, we'll let you get situated there and talk to a few more people, and we'll check back in with you in a little bit.
That's right. We're going to go now with Arlene Bornstein, who's our reporter over the phone, and she has a phone interview that she wants to share with us. Okay, actually, so we're going to hold off on Arlene for a few moments now. And for those of you who are now just tuning in, we wanted to let you know that there has been an explosion at this shopping center you're looking at in Plantation on South University Drive and Peters Road, where you see this LA Fitness and a strip mall across from the LA Fitness with several businesses. One of those businesses was a pizza shop. We're not sure yet where this explosion occurred, but what we do know, Alina, we've been reporting to you for some time now, is that the Plantation Fire Department has said it was indeed a gas explosion. Right, and we also want to have an update. We want to let you know that the Miami ATF, we're being told, is on the scene. They're there to provide support. We're talking about arson and explosion investigators. And again, at this point, everything seems to point to a gas explosion at this Plantation shopping center. Crews, when they arrived, rescue crews, when they arrived, they say they did find an active gas leak, and they also found ruptured gas lines in the rubble. The last thing we heard from authorities, and it's been a little bit since we've heard from them, was that they were still searching the collapsed area for any potential victims, but they believe that everyone has been accounted for. That's right, and I think Arlene's ready for us now live via phone. Arlene, can you hear us?
Should be, are we on phone or on live TV?
Hi, Arlene, you're on television. Can you hear me? It's Natalia and Alina.
Yes. Yes. Hi, Adriana. Thank you. So we are here with James Morrison. He tells us that he just got an update from police, and he's been waiting around since the explosion happened several hours ago for his car. What are they telling you?
They've indicated that people who have their cars over in that parking area won't be able to get them probably until Monday. Wow. So we're waiting. Many of us are waiting to see if we can get to our cars to get our wallets or valuables. They said they would get back to us and let us know if that was possible, but we also should look at making alternate means to get home and so forth. Wow. So it's Yeah, I understand it takes time and so forth, but we just like to at least, access our wallet so we can go about our business and then come back maybe on Monday to get our cars and so forth.
But that's the thing, you have your money and your wallets in there. Who knows, some people might have cell phones in there. Tell us what's going through your mind with all this. I mean, you really just went to the gym for a workout.
Yes, typically when I go to a gym, it's not uncommon to leave your valuables in the car, locked, wherever and so forth, because when I'm sweating and so forth. But the issue is my wallet, everything. I need IDs and so forth. I need that. So if I'm traveling somewhere this weekend, I would not be able to go because I don't have a photo ID.
And did they tell you you're going to get your tag number or? They
actually have surveyed all the cars in the area, and they're trying to find the owners of all the cars to account for all the people that the cars belong to in case they miss someone. So they're saying that now they're going around the area hollering out people, do you have cars over there? What's your license number? Tell us, tag number and so forth. Okay, fine, we got you. They can scratch you off the list. But again, they're saying it won't be till Monday, probably, that you can access the parking lot.
Wow. And James, tell me about your experience. You were actually inside the gym when that explosion happened at the adjacent pizza shop. You said that perhaps because your headphones were on, you didn't really hear it as much, but you definitely saw stuff like the glass break at the rackabout. Tell me all about that.
Yes, I did, but I felt it too. It's like you felt this vibration or something, but because I have my music so loud, it's like I couldn't really decipher. But the issue was, at the same time, the white smoke was everywhere, alarms went off, people started to move, not run, no panic, but started to move. It was like, you know what, you needed to get out. We thought that there was an explosion inside the gym itself, although that wasn't the case. But then as we were coming down the upper section of the gym, we noticed that the racquetball court glass were totally shattered. There was glass everywhere. There was smoke everywhere. Parents were running for the children in the daycare, swimming where people were helping other members who needed assistance to get out. But I didn't see anyone that was hurt. Everybody, no one screaming. We were just all trying to get out.
Yeah, it did look like people were not really in a state of panic, but were being very precautious. The kids, I hear, are okay, which is the good news here. But when you walked out of that gym and you saw that pizza shop that you've walked past many times before, what were your thoughts when you saw it in this? We have heard it's obliterated. We saw it from afar. It looks bad.
When I left the gym, I went into the pool area because I know there's a British swimming school there, and there's kids there. I've taken classes there, so I wanted to make sure everybody was out. The same with a locker room, working with the staff and so forth. And then I went up the side of the building, a place I'd never gone out, and I was like shocked with what I saw. It was like, oh, this wasn't inside the gym, this is outside the gym. And then when I looked across the adjacent building where a pizzeria place used to be that was closed, it was obliterated. I mean, it was gone, totally gone. And once we got down the staircase with the assistance of police and so forth, and out in the parking lot distance, we could smell gas. So we knew that, hey, you know what? It blew from that building into LA Fitness, but the explosion was very powerful.
Thank you, James, so much, and I hope you're able to get your belongings soon. Again, he is just one of many people in the gym on a Saturday morning who would never have expected anything like this to happen. So as they were exiting, what I'm getting from people is that they were just very cautious, wanted to make sure that the kids were okay. I saw a little girl being held by her mother, putting a water bottle on her neck. She didn't look physically injured from what I saw, but definitely shaken up. All these folks are shaken up. I know a girl who works at the gym. She tells me that she's homeless right now, and the car that is cordoned off within this scene is her home. So I don't know if she knows the news about not being able to get to her car till Monday, but certainly that's not going to be good news for her. Now, we're hearing that obviously there's a contingency of people who were taken to the hospital. Again, there are fewer and fewer witnesses out here as the time goes on. However, the traffic closures are still going on out here at Peters and University, a thoroughfare that you can definitely take to get to 595 and 95. So try to stay out of this area. Many dozens and dozens of fire engines and police departments from across Broward County are here assisting. So this is not the place to be right now. If you're trying to find something to do on a Saturday, stay out of the area of Peters Road and University here in Plantation. But of course, we're getting you many more of those videos you've seen. Again, the reports of it being a obliterated are not an exaggeration. This pizza shop basically no longer exists as it appears, as we've seen in many of the videos, and we're hoping that everybody who was injured is okay. But again, we'll keep you posted on what's happening out here near Peters and University, where we're staying. We're being kept about a half-mile away from the explosion location, of course, out of a precaution for everybody's safety. For now, we're live in Plantation. Arlene Bornstein, NBC6 News.
Arlene, thanks for that. If you're just joining us, rather, it is 2:30 on Saturday afternoon, and you are looking at live images out of Plantation of a shopping center that was severely damaged by a gas explosion that happened earlier this morning. The Associated Press, by the way, is reporting that the vacant pizza restaurant that we've all been talking about was where the explosion originated. Again, authorities have not come out and said that to us, but we're hoping to learn more from them. We're waiting a press conference with Plantation officials in just a few minutes.
Right, and we're not sure yet if that's either Plantation police or fire officials, but they did speak to us earlier about an hour ago and did confirm that there were no fatalities related to this incident, to this massive explosion that occurred on South University Drive and Peters Road, where you see that LA Fitness right now with the sign that's also been damaged. And that's just very little of what is really occurred here. If you'll see the chopper video and stay with us, you can see here the destruction that happened in the parking lot. And right now, actually, we're going to go to that press conference with fire or police officials.
It's located at 7620 Peters Road, and there are officers there that will help you all reunite with your loved ones and try and locate anyone as needed. Okay. Okay. So for any, just to clarify, I guess there's been a change in the location where the people that are trying to find family members have been moved to. It is now 9151 Northwest 2nd Place. It's the Central Park here in Plantation. So again, those people that were at the First Watch parking lot have been moved over to Central Park, and that is where you need to go if you're looking for any family members. And businesses as well.
Were most of the injured in the LA Fitness, or were they in the parking lot, or do you know at this point?
At this time, I don't know. We don't have that information. There were numerous rescue units that were, treating anyone with complaints. Sí, cambió la dirección. Ahora va a ser en Central Park.
So you've been watching a news conference. This is live with Plantation police. They are telling people that if you want to reunite with your family members, with your loved ones, the staging area for that has been moved. It is now at 9151 Northwest 2nd Place. That's Central Park. Let's listen in again.
We received a call at about 11:28 a.m. this morning, and we received numerous phone calls regarding a large explosion. And the reports were initially coming from the gym, LA Fitness, as well as 1025 South University Drive, which is a closed pizza parlor.
At the moment, is there still a search and rescue operation going on? Is there still rubble?
Yes, it's still an active scene. Of course, we're going to take our time to make sure that, we go through all of the businesses and we do a very thorough search to make sure that, we don't leave anyone behind who may be injured or trapped.
Can you talk about the nature of the injuries?
The injuries at this time, we have no fatalities and no one was critical. We have about 21 to 22 injuries. Yeah, I don't have the specific information on that. We had, numerous people. As you can imagine, in the community, between the restaurants and the gym, you have, people of all ages.
Are we considering this to be an accident right now, or what's the thinking?
Do you know what the cause of the explosion is? It is still an active scene. Obviously, the fire department is here and they're investigating. As far as the cause, that's yet to be determined. Our primary effort right now is to make sure that, we rescue anyone who needs rescuing and we treat anyone who's injured.
Earlier they said something about a gas explosion. Is that still the leading theory, or do we know?
Yeah, that's still under determination. Those are our initial reports, but until the fire department conducts a thorough investigation, they're not going to have a cause to report on that.
At this point, we can't confirm that it actually was the gas that caused the explosion, just because we haven't been able to determine officially. We do have the state fire marshal is here. The gas company is also here. ATF and Bomb and Arson from BSO are also here, and it's going to be an investigation to have to dig down and find it. As of right now, we're not confirming because we really are not sure.
But it appears.
I'm not going to make an assumption.
And who is the
power company? Is it FPL?
FPL is the power company. The gas company is TECO.
TECO?
Tampa Electric.
Chief, your name?
Joel Gordon, Gordon, Deputy Chief, Plantation Fire Department.
And Sergeant, your name?
Sergeant Jessica Ryan, Ryan. And we just ask the community to please be patient. Obviously the area and the businesses are all closed down. You know, that's in the best interest of, you know, the family members and anyone who may be involved. So please just, you know, avoid the area, take alternate routes. Currently University Drive is shut down, as well as Peters Road. That's pretty much.
What's the extent of the perimeter from University to going north? Do you guys know?
At this time, it's University Drive, pretty much from about Peters Road up to the 1000 block. And it extends from University Drive west on Peters Road to about maybe about the 8300 block. I have no reports of any critical injuries.
Well, we have 2 serious, but I don't know what the definition of serious is.
Right. At this point, the information I've received is there's no critical or life-threatening injuries and there's no fatalities. So as we get further information, we'll be sure to put that out to all of you.
Does it look like the explosion actually happened inside the vacant pizza shop?
They're still investigating, sir. I don't have that information at this time. We're just putting out what we have. Okay?
So you've been watching a news conference, a live news conference with Plantation authorities there, and just giving us an update on this situation. Again, this is it appears to be, and I say appears because the deputy chief there of the Plantation Fire Department has made it clear that they have not yet determined the cause of this explosion, but it appears to be a gas explosion at this shopping center in Plantation.
Yes, and also the police, Plantation police official you saw speaking to us there said there were between 21 and 22 injuries. Now that's a little bit over what we had been told about an hour ago by the fire official who spoke to us. So again, this is all very fluid, very tentative information, but that's the latest we have is 21 to 22 injuries. She said there were 2 serious among them, but even they admitted they didn't know exactly what that meant, how serious that was. But of course, the good news is that none of those were life-threatening and there are no deaths.
Right, they're saying no critical or life-threatening injuries, so that's a bit of good news. But this is, again, still a fluid situation. They are still actively searching the rubble to make sure that they haven't missed anyone who may have been trapped. Earlier today, they did say that they didn't find anybody who was trapped. But right now, they're still searching the debris. As you can imagine, the debris field there is rather extensive. You're looking at live pictures from our helicopter there of the scene. And they're in those buildings trying to make sure that nobody's still stuck there.
Yeah, and also very important for all you viewers who are just tuning in, what we're talking about is this gas explosion that happened in Plantation on South University Drive and Peters Road. If you know anyone who frequents this shopping center, it's got a strip mall with several businesses among them. There is a pizza shop, but there's also a LA Fitness. There is a reunification center for people who may know someone who was there, and if that is so, you can go to 9151 Northwest 2nd Place. I'm going to say that again slower. 9151 Northwest 2nd Place. That's Central Park in Plantation. That is the reunification center where officials are holding these people who were in that explosion or who were in the area of the explosion. Also something that we were just finding out via our reporter, Arlene Borenstein, is that the people whose cars you're seeing that are part of that destruction will not be able, likely, to pick up their cars until Monday. Quite an inconvenience, but of course, compared to what could have happened, really, that part is quite minor.
And that reunification center is very important because there are people who were working out in the gym. Maybe they had their cell phones in their cars. They're not able to get to their vehicles. Maybe they had their cell phone in a locker room and couldn't have them with them. So maybe you had a family member or a friend who you've been trying to reach. If you haven't been able to locate them, the first stop to go, the first place to go is this Central Park in Plantation, 9151 Northwest 2nd Place, to get some more information. The victims, the people who were hurt, who were taken to the hospital, were taken to the hospital in Fort Lauderdale. We're talking about Broward Health Medical Center. We have a reporter there, Daryl Forges. He's working the scene trying to get some more information. But while he was there, he did speak to someone who had suffered a minor injury, what appeared to be a minor injury to his knee.
Correct. And also we spoke to someone, or I should say Arlene Borenstein, our reporter, spoke to someone earlier who said he witnessed somebody who was getting treated for a laceration on his leg. So it seems so far that's the information we have as far as the injuries. We do not know the extent of the other injuries, but as you just heard, and if you didn't because you're just tuning in, Sergeant Jessica Ryan of Plantation Police did mention that only 2 of those 21 to 22 injuries were serious. None of them are life-threatening, and no deaths have been discovered.
But again, this is still an active scene, so if you are out and about, you should avoid this area if you can, because authorities are still there. They need to be able to get in and out. We're being told that several agencies are assisting in this. We know that the State Fire Marshal is there, ATF, the gas company, TECO Gas Company from Tampa is there as well.
FPL as well.
So we have different agencies that are there helping out in this investigation, and you can see them there in action. These are live images. They seem to be surveying some of the damage, which was truly remarkable when you see these images that are still just jarring to look at.
Absolutely. It's also very surprising, but luckily it seems no one has died as a result of this incident. Right now we're looking at the chopper video that shows that top of the LA Fitness and also the top of the strip mall that was involved in this devastating explosion that it seems was a gas explosion. That's what Plantation Police has tweeted, and it seems to be what people are leading to it, what's the information that we're getting.
So just to set the scene, this took place on a Saturday morning, just after 11. That's when the calls, just before 11:30 is when the calls started coming in. So you can imagine there were a lot of people there, and we want to show you some video that we just got into our newsroom from some viewers, just from what they were seeing.
So this is cell phone video you're seeing from one of our viewers who provided it to us. It seems that this is the LA Fitness where people were exiting from at some point after this explosion occurred.
And you could see water pouring from the side of that, from that wall there, just from outside. This is actually video we had seen a little earlier, but it still strikes me to see just how calm people are just walking through that debris field. It's incredible to watch.
Luckily, you know, they didn't seem to be panicked, which is always a good thing in situations like these. They seem to be just, a lot of them reporting on their cell phone videos, others seems to be just walking out, possibly to their cars. Many of those people, of course, by the way, are probably now at that reunification center if they were not injured, and at Broward Health Medical Center.
And I'm being told we actually have another video to show you from a viewer who was there.
Mira.
And that looks to be from inside the LA Fitness moments after that explosion rocked that shopping center.
It looks like pieces from the ceiling.
You could hear somebody say in Spanish, it looks like an earthquake. And that is exactly what it looks like. And the guy saying that the commercial center, the shopping center, was destroyed. Let's take a look at one more clip that came in.
That was the scariest thing I've ever experienced. Look at this, y'all.
That's a good way of putting it. He seemed he couldn't believe what he was watching. I can't believe what we're looking at right now.
He seemed pretty shocked and impacted by what's happening there in that moment. He's just showing us the destruction that occurred in and around that LA Fitness and in that shopping center in Plantation, where what seems to be, it's not confirmed yet, but what seems to be a gas explosion that happened earlier this morning, late morning, early afternoon.
You know, and those were videos from people who were right there when it happened. It's understandable to see their shock when you see the extent of the damage, but there were people who were half a mile and a half away who also felt the impact the sheer force of this explosion. Andrea Martinez was at a house that was right behind that shopping center. They had damage. She described it as earthquake-like damage. There were cracks in the ceiling, on the walls. The sliding glass door was severely damaged as well. That woman, that homeowner, was still in shock when she spoke to our reporter.
And also our cameraman, John Drummings, who lives, he says, a mile and a half away from this where this shopping center, the destruction at the shopping center occurred, says he felt the impact. His whole house shook. He said that he thought there was an explosion of some sort, but didn't know exactly what had happened.
He thought something had hit his house.
Correct.
And then there was Steve McLaughlin, who lives in a high-rise not far from there, and he's a meteorologist. He was thinking at first that it was potentially something weather-related, because we did have some weather moving into the area at the time, and then he saw these images and just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I think it's something probably very unfamiliar, right? That feeling that they must have felt must have been very unfamiliar to them living in South Florida, because we do not have earthquakes here. And a lot of several of the people that have spoken to either our reporters or who have called in have said that they felt it was that sensation of an earthquake. And of course, we know that's been in the headlines because of what happened in California. So I'm sure that it was quite scary for the people not to know what exactly was happening around their homes.
Yeah, there was a little bit of confusion, I think, people trying to get some answers about what was going on, what had caused their homes to shake like that. Earlier in the afternoon, we've been on the air now for a few hours, and we've been talking to people who were in the area. Arlene Borenstein did do an interview with a woman who was at a Taekwondo place where there were some children gathered for some classes, and the children seemed frightened, confused, thought there was an earthquake.
Yeah, and we are also looking at the parking lot where all these cars are still obviously being held as they survey the area. And we were told by somebody who Arlene spoke to earlier that it's likely they will not be able, the owners of those cars will not be able to pick them up probably until Monday. And of course, if you know anybody who is in the area and you haven't heard from them, there has been a reunification center set up at 9151 Northwest 2nd Place. It's actually the Central Park in Plantation. Again, that address is 9151 Northwest 2nd Place, and that's the Central Park in Plantation. That is where authorities have set up a place where you could go, and that would be your first stop if you haven't heard from somebody, because as you mentioned, Alina, earlier, if there were people in that LA Fitness, and I'll show you, see that map right there, shows where the LA Fitness is compared to everything else. If they were there and you haven't heard from them because possibly they've left their belongings, their cell phones in their lockers or in their cars and were not able to get to them, this would be a place where you could go see if they're there.
Can we go back to that map just for a moment, because we want to make sure that people understand the area that we are showing, we're talking about here. So that's where the LA Fitness is. That's not where the explosion happened, but the LA Fitness is what we've been seeing. At this point, it looks like the epicenter of the explosion was actually the building right next to that LA Fitness. LA Fitness on South University Drive. That area, if you're out and about doing what you're doing on Saturday, running errands, avoid that area. All stores and businesses in the area of the Fountains Plaza and the Plantation Marketplace Plaza, again, near that LA Fitness, we're talking about that area right there, Peters Road, University Drive. Avoid that area because the stores, the shops in that area are shut down indefinitely for now.
Yeah, and also we can see on the map that there are several large locations, landmarks around the Jacaranda Golf Club and the Plantation Preserve Golf Course. We also know the Broward Mall is nearby. So these are all places where if you're going to be in, or if you're planning on going to these places, you might want to find an alternate route or change your plans altogether, depending on how big this perimeter is. We're not sure. What we are seeing right now are some of those glasses, some of those windows being blown out at it seems like that's the LA Fitness, yeah.
And that's still the LA Fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could really get a sense of just what it must have been like in there on a Saturday morning.
Oh my gosh.
With all these people there, all of a sudden seeing all the chaos, the building shaking and not really knowing what was happening.
And possibly not just feeling but hearing those glasses, you know, being blown out. That must have been very startling as well for many people.
So it looks like, again, this is still an active scene. You see there fire officials on the scene going through, walking over the rubble there of what's left of this part of this shopping center in Plantation where an apparent a possible gas explosion happened. And I keep reiterating that because authorities earlier were speaking pretty confidently, and now they kind of, the last update, they kind of walked back a little bit from that. So we're going to follow their lead and just report what they've been telling us, and that is that this is still early. They're still trying to figure out exactly what caused this explosion, what caused this damage. It appears at this point that it was a gas explosion, but they're still working to make sure that that's exactly what happened. They did say earlier that they had found ruptured gas lines in the rubble, and they also talked about several witnesses told our Arlene Borenstein and other people out there that they had smelled a strong scent of gas moments before the explosion happened, which is probably why authorities feel that this is probably because of a gas leak. But they are doing their due diligence. They're investigating and making sure that they get to the bottom of what caused this massive explosion at this shopping center there in Plantation.
And there are several agencies on scene, including the Miami Arsons and Explosive Investigators, state fire marshals, Broward Sheriff's Office officials, and then there's also people from FPL, which we all know is our power company, and Tico Gas Company. So they are all there, obviously trying to figure out how this happened and what they can do to improve the situation at this moment.
And there's talk about that area that you're seeing right there that's leveled, basically, appears to be a vacant pizza shop. People who live in the area told us that it's been vacant for a few months. Authorities did say that it is a vacant pizza shop. At this point, they have not said for sure that that is exactly where the explosion initiated, but it appears from the damage that we're seeing that that's where the heaviest amount of damage happened. We're also told that they are looking through the debris, making sure that they haven't missed anyone. Right. But they did not find anyone trapped in the debris. Any of the people that they found, any of the victims, were not trapped. So that's good news.
That is good news. Also good news is the officials so far have said that no deaths have come about because of this incident. So there are 21 to 22 people injured. Only 2 of them is what they're considering serious. None of those injuries are considered life-threatening. So again, no fatalities and no one is in critical condition, but it is still an active scene. And so they're still searching for people who may possibly be injured or trapped.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of questions about this, right? They haven't really talked about whether there was any work being done in that vacant pizza shop that everybody keeps referring to. We also don't know if it was being done in the area. So hopefully we'll have some of those answers for you as this investigation moves on. But you're seeing there live out of Plantation images from our helicopter of fire investigators, fire crews still on the scene. This is a very active scene, and it's going to be for a while. This isn't going to be resolved very quickly.
No, I would assume it wouldn't, because the destruction is massive. I mean, the parking lot is riddled with pieces of debris. Some of those palm trees have been knocked down. Trees and cars have been also damaged. But of course, the most important of all is the people. And right now, as far as we know, authorities have confirmed 21 to 22 injuries. Only 2 of those serious, no deaths. We know that part of that structure is part of the shopping center that was across from that LA Fitness. It seems that this is where it originated. This explosion that seems to have been a gas explosion originated. But again, all this information is tentative, most of it at least, because fire and police officials in Plantation and Broward have said that they are still investigating and that they're actually still looking to see if there's anybody left among the rubble. Now, earlier they had said that nobody had been found trapped underneath, but as you said, Alina, they seem to be a little bit more cautious with their information just a few minutes ago when they gave the last presser. That pizza place that was on the end of that structure was vacant. That's what fire officials say, so we do not know if that means it was vacant in terms of it wasn't in business, it wasn't operating as a business at the time. Could there have been somebody there doing work? We don't know. We don't know. We don't have those answers, and of course, it's very early in the investigation. Yeah. Those are the answers that authorities are working to figure out. They want to figure out
what caused this explosion that caused so much devastation in this area. Now, if again, up to now the latest estimates, the latest numbers are 21 to 22 people hurt. The extent of those injuries, we don't know. We don't know how many of those people were taken to the hospital, but we do know that the ones who were taken to the hospital were taken to Broward Health Medical Center in Fort Lauderdale. So if you have a family member who you know was in the area and you haven't been able to reach them, the first stop should be this Family Reunification Center, which is 9151 Northwest 2nd Place. That's in Plantation, that's Central Park. That's where you should go first to check in to see if they are there. Again, a lot of people may have left their identifications, their cell phones in the gym if they were working out, or in their cars. So again, that is the meeting location for families and businesses, people who are trying to get information about what happened. That's where they should go. Central Park, 9151 Northwest 2nd Street.
Yeah, that would definitely seem to be the first stop if you have any loved ones that you think may have been in that area or in the actual location where this happened. Also, Broward Health Medical Center is where some of those victims were taken. So obviously that would be, I guess, another place where you could check out. But of course, they might have that. I think that the first stop should be, of course, that reunification center where they can give you more information and whatever details related to the people that were hurt and transported. Now, of course, we've been reporting this whole time. There so far have not been any deaths related to this incident. What we do know, as you said, Alina, is 21 to 22 people hurt. That number up a little bit from the first press conference, but that's what we have so far. Only 2 of those 22 people approximately are seriously injured, and none of those are life-threatening, but it is still an active scene. So
and it's still early. Authorities are still just getting a sense of the extent of the damage. They're still combing the debris. This is, you can see there, by the way, the intersection where they are redirecting traffic, and that intersection is South University Drive and Peters Road. Again, avoid the area, make it easier on fire, crews and emergency vehicles that need to get in and out. Also, people who may be going to get information should not be going to this scene. They should be going to that Family Reunification Center. There's a staging area there for information for people who think that maybe a loved one or a friend may have been involved, may have been hurt, or they just can't get a hold of them.
Right.
But you can see the extensive scene there. That is just it's an area you should avoid.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking to people who live 1.5 miles away from that area, and they felt their houses shake. I mean, our cameraman, John Drummings, called in earlier and told us that he thought something had hit his house. He wasn't sure, but he said that he felt the whole house shake and that his neighbors felt the same way. They didn't know what had happened, but if he felt this 1.5 miles away from where the explosion occurred, you can already imagine how large that was, that impact.
And that's why we saw the damage that we saw in that neighborhood immediately behind the shopping center, where our reporter Andrea Martinez was there speaking to that homeowner who says that she had cracks in her walls, on her ceiling. Andrea likened it to earthquake-like damage.
That's right.
And so the impact of that was felt far beyond this immediate area.
Yeah, and luckily, though, like we've been telling you, there are no deaths. So if you just tuned in, what we are talking about, what you're seeing is the site of a massive explosion where we do not know exactly how it originated, because Plantation officials have said that it may be related to a gas explosion, but we have not yet confirmed that. They are still investigating. They have told us that they do not want to confirm those details just yet, but what they can tell us is that they have not found any deaths in that area related to this incident, and that 21 to 22 people are hurt. 2 of those people are seriously injured, but none of them, fortunately, are life-threatening.
Now, you're looking at live images from a different angle. It was a tight shot just a minute ago of what appears to be utility crews. I don't know, I can't say with certainty whether these are gas company workers, but they appear to be utility workers going in and out of the building. probably trying to figure out exactly what caused this explosion.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have stayed away from giving us any of those details because we as you just heard, if you've been hearing us we've been reporting, we've been on the air, we broke into programming with this a few hours ago because this is such a big, devastating occurrence for our area. And what we do know is that it was an explosion. It happened in Plantation. It happened in the shopping center called the Fountains on South University Drive and Peters Road, where there is an LA Fitness and a strip mall with several different businesses, including a kids' dental office, a yogurt and cafe, a Code Ninja, a Chili's, a tropical smoothie. What are we looking at there? Let's see. We have some fire officials. If you can look at your screen, they're obviously concentrating, trying to see what they're seeing there is some debris, of course. We have the ceiling of that. That's the strip mall that's in front of the LA Fitness. That far end of that has been completely destroyed.
And that's
flattened.
in the area of where that pizza shop that everybody keeps referring to, that it seems to be the area where that pizza shop may have been located. But again, what we were seeing earlier, and again, we can't tell you with certainty if those were what kinds of crews were those?
Yeah.
You know, we don't know if those were utility workers, if they were with a gas company, with FPL, if they were some other agency that's maybe helping out. But they're definitely taking a close look at the scene, at the debris, and trying to get some answers in terms of what happened. In the front of the building, you could see, obviously, the helicopter is having to reposition there. So please bear with us. This is live television.
Yeah.
These kinds of things happen. But you could see that earlier there were fire crews inside the building, presumably looking for any potential victims they may have missed.
And as you mentioned, Alina, there are many crews out there from many different agencies and companies. Right there you're looking at what seems to be a Tico truck, which would be the gas company responsible for the gas in that area and in most of Florida, if not all. We also have Miami Arsons and Explosive investigators on scene, state fire marshals, BSO deputies, FPL, which we all know is our power company. And if you are in the area, that's something else you need to keep in mind, because there are a lot of crews out there. They are trying to transport victims, I'm sure, if they haven't already. But there's a lot going on, so you need to stay out of that area.
All right, so we want to kind of bring you up to speed now. It's 3 o'clock. We have been in the hour on air now for several hours, and we want to give you the latest headlines, so to speak, from this breaking situation out in Plantation at this shopping center where there is an apparent gas explosion, possible gas explosion at this shopping center. There are between 21 and 22 people injured. That number ticked up just a little bit from the last update that we had from authorities, and so far authorities are saying no one has died in this incident. We are aware of a family reunification place, a place where business owners can also go to get some information. That place is Central Park in Plantation. The address is 9151 Northwest 2nd Place. That is the first stop you should go. If you've been trying to reach someone and you haven't been able to find them, you haven't been able to connect with them, go to this location. That's where you can get some information about potential victims and things like that. The second spot is the hospital, which is in Fort Lauderdale, and that's where you should go next. All businesses in that plaza, by the way, are closed and will remain closed indefinitely.
Right, and so now we're going to go with our field reporter, one of them, because we have obviously continuing coverage here with our whole team. Arlene, tell us, what do you have for us?
Well, guys, since we've gotten here just before 1 o'clock, here we are just right in front of the LA Fitness. We have been cleared to be here on Peters Road and University. They say it is safe for the media to be here, and this gives me the opportunity to show you a better vantage point of exactly what is going on at this LA Fitness. What's incredible here is you see this, what was a window, completely blown out. You can see that the insides are shown. There are beams and pieces of wood. It looks like hanging from the top of this window, and it is a little bit difficult to see, but you can definitely get the impact that came from that pizza shop next door. It's incredible to see the damage to this LA Fitness, and this explosion didn't even happen inside this LA Fitness. Lots of the people that we spoke to, several, I would say at least 3 or 4, told us they had a smell of gas when they walked in. They didn't know where exactly it was coming from. Everybody was just enjoying their Saturday morning, heading to the gym, so nobody put in a call to the fire department. And then here we are with what is believed to be preliminarily, according to these witness accounts, a gas explosion that happened at that pizza restaurant right next door, which we understand was actually out of business for several months. And now there is this. Now, inside the LA Fitness at the time, what was told to me by several witness accounts, there were kids inside the daycare at the LA Fitness. There was a swimming school going on. Luckily, from what we understand, no kids were seriously injured. Parents and members and employees of this LA Fitness hurrying to get those kids out of there. But once this explosion happened, I think everybody was pretty stunned, walking out pretty calmly, but making sure that everybody else is okay. Now, I understand there was a press conference that just happened. We gathered some information here. There's still no specific information on ages or conditions. There's still an active investigation here on scene. The initial reports that it is a gas explosion, however, that has not been confirmed by officials. I want to point out to you that Peters Road here and University is shut down till Broward Boulevard, so not the best place to be at. So avoid this area. If you're getting off at 595, make sure you don't get off at University Drive here. All stores and businesses in this very busy area, many businesses talked to me about what they felt, and this was as far as a half mile, 3/4 of a mile away from where the explosion happened. There was a Taekwondo location where kids were taking lessons, and they evacuated those kids out of there. There were people offering their services to people who they saw were hurt. We did speak to someone who said that they saw a person injured have a tourniquet put around their leg, so a very deep laceration, potentially dangerous. That will definitely obviously be one of the people we know. Up to about 20 or more victims taken to local hospitals. There are people, there are actually dogs looking through this rubble, according to fire, to make sure that everybody is out. We understand that we believe everybody has been located, but there was a fear initially that there were victims that were unaccounted for. But at this time, we believe everybody has been located. Of course, our thoughts are for the people that were taken to the hospital. This was just another day at the gym when a potential gas explosion from an adjacent pizza shop made such a huge impact, as you're seeing in these videos and images and the accounts. People told us, you know, the man at Carrabba's that was just cutting tomatoes, all of a sudden he felt that explosion along with the customers in for their lunch breaks. They had to evacuate the entire restaurant. Water pipe burst, so water now involved. Some of these businesses taking on water damage, structural damage. But I will tell you that there are dozens of crews here all across Broward County, several cities, Coral Springs, as you said, Natalia, BSO, we saw Sunrise, we saw Fort Lauderdale fire here. Very big community and multi-agency effort here to make sure things are safe here on the ground. The injuries are limited, and that is exactly what we're seeing out here at this LA Fitness and this strip mall here in Plantation. That's all we have for now. Arlene Bornstein, NBC6 News.
Arlene, thank you so much for your updates and for keeping us informed on the situation out there. And we want to give you an update, some new information we've gotten. So victims, we've been talking about 21 to 22 people who were hurt. Again, we don't know the extent of the injuries and how many people were transported, but we have been told now that they were taken to 3 separate hospitals. 2 victims were taken to Broward Health Medical Center. That's in Fort Lauderdale. That's where we had Daryl Forges earlier. Right. The other 2 locations are Westside Regional Medical Center at 8201 West Broward Boulevard in Plantation, and also Plantation General Hospital.
Right, and Daryl is actually on his way to Westside Regional Medical Center, so that is something to look forward to see what information he can get for us there. Also, the Reunification Center, if you have loved ones, if you know someone who is in the area, who is at that LA Fitness, you can go to 9151 Northwest 2nd Place. That is Central Park in Plantation, and that is the place that authorities have set up for you to go and either see or ask or pick up your loved ones and obviously find more information if they have been taken to one of those other hospitals.
And so this is still an active scene. Authorities are very optimistic that no one has died.
Absolutely.
They keep reiterating that they can't believe, really, that when you look at the damage, that no one has died. But at this point, the preliminary information they have and that they've been giving to us is that no fatalities, no deaths have been reported. But they are still searching the debris see for any potential victims they may have missed. Thankfully, no one was found trapped in the debris. No one was found trapped in the rubble, but they're still going through and making sure that they haven't missed anyone.
That's right. And we have Andrea Martinez, one of our reporters on scene at the home of somebody who lives nearby. Andrea, what can you tell us about what they see?
Yeah, we're here right behind the Fountains Shopping Center at New Orleans Villas. This is, again, right behind the shopping center, and I've spoken to many residents here who said they felt the shake, they felt the blow, and it felt like an earthquake. I'm joined now by Alex Mell. He lives here. Alex, thank you so much for being here. I want to know just as far as what you heard, what you felt in the moment of impact.
I was lying in bed watching TV, and I heard this big bang, and I saw the doors to the patio shaking. And after that, I didn't hear anything or whatever. But I thought someone had thrown a firecracker at the window. That's what made it shake. Nobody expects a loud explosion.
What was your initial thoughts? I mean, you mentioned you thought maybe it was a firecracker. Did you turn on the TV right away? Did you check your phone?
I turned on the TV right away, and then I had somebody coming to see me, so I had to get out of bed and come down here and let him in. And he showed me a video of what had happened, and he told me what happened. So, like I said, I initially felt it was either an earthquake or a firecracker or something that was thrown at the window.
Knowing what it was and seeing, you know, watching the TV and seeing the injuries, what are your thoughts just knowing this happened, you know, just a few blocks from you?
Well, you got to be thankful that you weren't involved in it. You got to be more thankful that no one was extremely hurt. And, you know, things happen.
Now, there was no damage to your home. Have you checked everything?
No, I haven't, but I will.
You will, yes. So, because, you know, some homes in this neighborhood did see some damage.
I know. I saw the last interview with the lady that lived over there on 73rd. I'm on 74th, so I'm closer.
Have you spoken to any of your neighbors? What are they saying? Did they also feel it?
I would imagine so, but I haven't seen any of them.
Just thankful that you weren't involved. And
that we weren't involved in it. No one here was involved in it. Nobody was killed or hurt majorly. You know, what can I say? Thank God.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us, and we're going to continue checking in on neighbors, seeing if there's any damage, and talking to people who heard it, who might have been in the area when it happened, and we'll check back with you guys momentarily.
Thank you.
Andrea, while we have you, if you can just stay with us for a moment. When you were going through the neighborhood, can you describe to us what you've seen? How did you find these people, and are people stunned? Are the people outside trying to figure out what happened still?
Yeah, you know, I've just seen a lot of neighbors outside, you know, a lot of neighbors communicating with one another, you know, talking about what they saw, sharing photos. But, you know, I did see one family who had a birthday party planned. They had a bounce house outside, and they were just going along their day as planned. They just said they, you know, saw some helicopters overboard and, you know, above, and felt the explosion. But definitely, you know, a lot of chatter among neighbors trying to find out if everyone's okay, and definitely, you know, just a lot of thankfulness that no one, that this wasn't fatal as far as we know yet.
In terms of damage, have you seen any more damage other than that one woman that you interviewed earlier today?
We have not seen any more damage than that home, but we are hearing from neighbors that there may be more damage in the area in this particular community. So that's what we're hoping to check on, and we're kind of going door to door here and talking to people outside just to see, you know, if anybody else has any damage.
Andrea, and can you also reiterate or remind us how far, what is the distance between where you are and the explosion?
This is just about a quarter mile from the shopping center. So it's very close, and Alex here tells me that he frequents the shopping center all the time. I mean, this shopping center is probably a main shopping point for a lot of people who live here.
It's the neighborhood Publix, and it's a decent Publix, and we use their facilities very frequently. We use their pharmacy, we use their, you know, and we buy our food and stuff there for a good part.
There are probably lots of people there from this neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. It's right across the street. Why would they go anywhere else?
Right.
You're already here.
Right. So like I said, about a quarter mile from where all these residents live is where we are at. So pretty close, and pretty much everyone I spoke to who was here, who were in their homes here, felt some kind of shake, saw their windows vibrate, and definitely felt that impact.
All right, Andrea, thank you so much for letting us know what the situation is in the surrounding neighborhoods near this shopping center where this explosion happened a little before 11:30 this morning.
Right, and so also we want to let you know that TECO, which is the gas company responsible for the gas in this area, which is Tampa Electric as well, if that's what it's called, is shut off all natural gas to this location. So if you are in the area, you're wondering if you use this gas from this gas company, you will now not have any gas for the time being.
They're also saying that their main concern is for those who were injured in this explosion, and they're also working with the fire department, which is what we're seeing from these aerial images from our helicopter.
That's right. And if you're just tuning in, we are talking about the explosion that occurred on Peters Road and South University Drive at the Fountains Shopping Plaza, where there is an LA Fitness and numerous other businesses, but that would be the largest in terms of the building's size. There is what seems to have been a gas explosion, but that has not yet been confirmed by authorities. Police and fire officials held a press conference just a few moments ago, and they were able to confirm that there were between 21 and 22 people hurt. None of them were life-threatening injuries, but 2 of them were serious. They weren't able to elaborate as to what exactly that means in terms of how serious, but fortunately, again, nobody has been found dead because of this explosion. Now, this is an ongoing investigation, so that can still change. It's still an active scene. They did tell us earlier that they have not found anybody that's been injured or trapped, but they've also said that they are still searching in the rubble, among the rubble, for people who may have been caught underneath.
Right, and when you look at the images from the helicopter, you can understand why it's taking a little bit to make sure that you've cleared the area. I mean, it's going to take a while for them to make sure. They don't want to miss someone. They want to make sure that they get to any potential victims who may be impacted, who may have been missed. And again, as Natalia was saying, 21 to 22 injuries. The number keeps changing a little bit, as is common in these kinds of situations. And those who were taken to the hospital, we don't know exactly how many were taken to the hospital, but the latest information that we have is that 2 people were taken to Broward Health Medical Center in Fort Lauderdale. And we don't know how many were taken to these other 2 locations, but there are victims who were taken to Westside Regional Medical Center at 8201 West Broward Boulevard in Plantation, and also Plantation General Hospital. So if you have a loved one who was in the area who you think may have been impacted, who you haven't been able to get a hold of, again, remember, it's Saturday morning. A lot of people were out at the gym. A lot of people were running errands. Maybe they didn't have their phones with them. The first place to go before you go to the hospital is to this Family Reunification Center. I don't know if we can put that address for you on the screen, but it is at 9151 Northwest 2nd Street. That is where you need to go. That is where authorities are asking people to go for information, whether you're a business owner in the area or if you're trying to find a loved one. That's the place to go for information, not the scene. They don't want you to go to the scene. This is still an active scene. They have emergency crews coming and going. They're still searching the debris. They want to make sure that they keep all avenues clear, and they have shut down traffic at University Drive and Peters Road. So again, if you are out and about, if you plan to go out later today, avoid that area. This is going to be shut down for quite some time.
That's right. We've also been told that the victims of this devastation have been taken to 3 different hospitals. 2 of those 21 to 22 victims have been taken to Broward Health Medical Center. Others have been taken to Westside Regional Medical Center, which is at 8201 West Broward Boulevard in Plantation, and also to Plantation General. So those are the 3 places where these 21 to 22 people who were injured have been taken. We will remind you once again that the news, the better news within all of this is that nobody has actually died or has been found found dead thus far, and it seems they're pretty confident of that. No life-threatening injuries either. So 2 serious injuries. We don't know what serious, they didn't elaborate as to what that actually meant, but we do know, we've spoken to several witnesses who said they saw one person with a leg laceration, and so that is certainly somebody who would have been taken to one of those 3 hospitals.
And we've actually just gotten some updated numbers. We're being told that 13 of the injured were taken to Westside Regional Medical Center. So 13 people who were injured were taken to Westside Regional Medical Center. That's 8201 West Broward Boulevard in Plantation. And right now we are waiting for another update from fire and police that should be happening at any moment. As soon as that happens, of course, we will be bringing that to you live.
Yeah, and definitely we're all very interested in hearing what they have to say regarding this, because this is still an active scene. This just happened late morning, around 11:30 or so, and we have information they've given us so far, which is that there are no fatalities, but they also said they were still searching among the collapsed area and among the debris for possible other victims. The last number they gave us in the prior press conference was 21 to 22 people hurt, 2 of them in serious condition. Nobody died, but then they also reiterated it was still an active scene. So I'm guessing they have more information, more details to give us, updated information that we can share with you.
Right. Their focus right now is making sure they haven't missed any potential victims, as it should be in these early moments of an investigation. This all happened. The first call came in just before 11:30 this morning, so it's been a couple of hours since this all happened. They're going through the debris. They want to make sure they haven't missed anyone. Once they've cleared the debris, once they have made sure that no one is trapped, that they have found all the victims, then they'll focus on trying to figure out what caused it. But right now the focus is really on securing the area, making sure that if it was caused by a gas leak, that there is no gas leaking, that all of that is taken care of, which our understanding is that all hazards have been secured. That is something that fire officials told us earlier in the day. My understanding is that any potential problems like that have been secured. They're still making sure. They're going to make sure that nothing else can happen.
Okay, and so we were just being told by our producers that there is another gas leak in a nearby residential and commercial area nearby, and so our chopper is now on its way. It's behind the Fountains shopping plaza, which is where this initial explosion occurred around 11:30 this morning. So that would be near University Drive and Peters Road. What you're looking at now seems to be that new location behind that shopping center. Again, Tico Gas Company has told us that they have shut off all natural gas to the area, so we are not sure what this new gas leak is about, but you are seeing what seems to be residential buildings in this new location right behind the initial one on South University Drive and Peters Road, where there was an LA Fitness, there was a strip mall with several businesses that were also destroyed.
So this is actually live video from this building. Address is 700 Southwest 78th Avenue in Plantation. It's very close to where that explosion happened. You can see how the helicopter basically just turned, and now you could see the actual scene where the explosion happened. But we're told that crews were at this other location investigating another potential gas leak. Again, as Natalia said, they had shut down gas to the area, so hopefully that's been resolved.
That's right, and they are, Tico Gas has said that they are working with the fire department to figure out what is happening exactly, but they reiterated they had shut off all natural gas to this location and that their main concern is for those who have been hurt. This is definitely, I think, a surprise for a lot of us that this is occurring. Obviously a massive explosion and something we haven't seen here in South Florida, at least during my time here.
So again, this is a live, these are live pictures from our helicopter of this, what's left of this shopping center, the part of the shopping center that was completely obliterated in this apparent gas explosion that happened earlier this morning. I'd say first call came in, authorities said around 11:28 a.m. Several people were at the LA Fitness nearby working out. and apparently called in this explosion. You could see there, the helicopter, by the way, just a moment ago showed you where that other building was located, so you get a sense of just how close it is to where this explosion happened, where they're looking, that other building, authorities are telling us they're looking at another potential gas leak. But again, this is a very fluid situation. We are working to get all the details for you, and we're trying to give you the latest updates that we get as we get them. Just please bear with us, because things change in these types of circumstances.
Absolutely. I mean, thus far, what we have been reporting on is this explosion that occurred on South University Drive in Plantation, where that shopping center called the Fountains is located. But now, the chopper, as you can see, is now focusing on residential buildings and commercial and residential areas, what we've been told, where there is an apparent gas leak as well. Tico Gas Company has shut off all natural gas to the location. They've said their main concern is for those who've been hurt. We are unclear at this point. They have not informed us as to what is going on with that situation, but as far as we know, this explosion is the only tragic event at the moment. Well,
we've had reporters covering this story now for several hours, and we have now Tony Pipitone, who's joining us live in the newsroom. And Tony, you have some information to share with us.
Yeah, we've been investigating the ownership of the property here. This shopping center, the Fountains Plaza there, is owned by a company out of South Carolina called Locust Gardens, LLC, and they purchased that whole shopping center back in 2007 for $24 million in August 2007. Now that includes the LA Fitness, it includes the Carrabba's, the building that is destroyed there in the foreground, as you can see, which was the Pizza Fire restaurant for a time. But really, the Pizza Fire restaurant had not been there at all this year. They entered into a 10-year lease with the company back in March of 2017, but by December 2018, they were out. They were unable to pay $21,000 in back rent, and they abandoned the property, turning the keys in to Locust Gardens LLC, the owners. So Locust Gardens then sued Pizza Fire. That suit was dismissed. Apparently some sort of settlement was worked out. And it's unclear that there was any business in that exact space there on that western edge of the building where it appears the gas explosion was centered. The epicenter there on the right side of your screen is the area the Pizza Fire restaurant was there last year, but again had not been there. They leased about 2,500 square feet of the property there on that west end of that parcel, but as far as we can tell, they have been closed as far as December. We're getting information now from the press conference in Plantation. Let's take you right there live.
Operation, just a brief update. We did have an explosion of some sort in the mall that contains the LA Fitness on South University Drive. At this point, we've pretty much completed the search for victims. We believe we've located just about everyone. We are doing what's called a secondary search in the condensed area in the center of where the explosion appears to be. We are not. We've secured the hazards. There is no more gas leak. The electric has been secured as well. So we're progressing along that way. At this point, we have a count of 21 total injuries, 2 of which were serious. They were taken to the trauma center at Broward Health Medical Center. The others were transported locally. Other than that, right now we have a perimeter secured in the area for those that are traveling through the area traffic-wise. We have University Drive shut down from Broward Boulevard all the way through to Peters Road. And then we have Peters Road shut down from University Drive to Southwest 78th Avenue. All right, so that area is completely shut down. The businesses in the malls in the area are shut down as well. The gas has been secured to those businesses, and as soon as we can confirm that everything is safe, we'll try and get those back up and running as quick as we can. But the important thing is that the area is secured. Please try to find alternate routes of travel. Also, we have opened a reunification center for family members looking for their relatives, as well as for the businesses that are affected. The reunification center is at the Central Park Gymnasium, which is in our Central Park, 9121 Northwest 2nd Street. That's 9121 Northwest 2nd Street, Plantation Central Park Gymnasium. Other than that, you know, we're thankful at this point that it wasn't worse as far as injuries go, and for those who have suffered, we're concerned and we're keeping a watchful eye on them. I also want to take a minute to thank all the other departments that responded. We had pretty much every fire rescue agency from Broward County was here. Broward County Fire Rescue brought their hazmat team. There were technical rescue search teams from both Broward County, Sunrise, and I believe Fort Lauderdale as well. The Broward Sheriff's Office is also here with their bomb and arson. The State Fire Marshal is here, and at this point we are still investigating the cause, so we haven't confirmed it yet.
Did the explosion happen in a vacant business?
We're not sure exactly where it occurred. That's what we're looking at right now. So we're going to be sure before we confirm it, before we say.
Chief, any children injured?
I believe we did have one child that was injured. I don't know the extent or the details on that. I don't believe it was one of the critical patients, though.
When you say serious, life-threatening injuries? We were told no life-threatening injuries.
One patient was called what we call a level 1 trauma or a trauma alert, which means potentially life-threatening. The other one was seriously injured. I don't know the extent of those injuries, but they were both taken to the trauma center.
Were those injured at the gym at the time, or where were the...
When we arrived, we found patients scattered all about the debris area. So it's tough to really identify where they actually came from. And then we had patients who had wandered away and came back again. So it's difficult at this point, and all that's going to be pieced together in the hours that come.
Have investigators been able to determine whether or not this was caused by a gas?
The investigators are in there now. So we haven't confirmed anything yet.
And you're saying it's just one explosion, it was in the mall facility, it wasn't...
There appears to be one. There appears to be one at this point. Like I said, the exact location we're still working on.
Were any people trapped by the debris inside any portion of the shopping center?
During the search, the search teams did not find anybody in the debris. Everybody appears to have been outside at this point. As I said, we are still searching the core of the collapse, but so far, no.
The fire restaurant was not occupied. You know if it is generally open for business, but was not open at the time?
I don't believe it's open for business.
Closed to business. When did closed to business? 1 year.
Okay, closed. It's been closed for...
What you mean by core of the collapse? Are you talking about the gym? What are you talking about when you say you're searching the core?
We're searching where the bulk of the debris was, where possibly the center of the explosion is. I personally have not been over there, so I haven't seen it.
Is that the gym, though, or is that the parking lot? Where is that physically?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll find out for you. I do not know.
Can you describe just the general nature of the injuries? Were they, broken bones, burns?
Most of the bones are what we call classic blast-related injuries. So a variety of different things that involve high impact.
Number of injured?
21 at this point.
And
the lingering smell of gas normal, because we're hearing reports of a lingering smell of gas across the street. How is that?
There would be some residual smell for a while, and understand that that's actually the odorant that they put in the gas, not necessarily the gas. We did just get a call for smell of gas at the switching station down the road, but with the area shut off, it wouldn't be unusual for that to pressurize like that.
But any reports from anybody this morning saying, hey, I'm smelling, smells like gas?
Not that we had, not that we heard.
How long do you think this area will be closed for businesses, for traffic, for people who want to get their cars back? I mean, how long is your investigation go? Through the night, through the weekend?
At this point, it'd be hard to tell. I wouldn't even begin to speculate on that. I'll try and come back to you later and get a better time frame on it. At this point, we're just going to say it's closed for an indeterminate time right now.
Could this still hypothetically be a crime?
Unknown. That's something that will be determined from the investigation.
I know ATF is here on the scene, sir. Any details on what exactly they're looking for at this time as they kind of make their way throughout the damage? Yeah.
Well, this is kind of a standard thing when you have an explosion, which is what we'll call it. We'll call it an explosion. Everybody who has potentially has a potential concern would be here initially. And as we dig down further into it, we'll start figuring out what we've got as far as concrete information and then make more determinations from there.
Are you amazed that the injuries seem to be relatively small based on what you can see from the debris field?
I'm going to say we're relieved. We're very much relieved that, considering the debris field and considering how we found the patients and where we found them, the injuries are not as severe as we would have thought they would be. So we're very thankful for that.
Chief, what would you say is the size of the area impacted?
I don't know. Tough to determine. But I don't know. Be a guess. But that's the area itself. The impacted area would be the mall, that whole mall back there, as well as this portion of the fountains, the southern end of the fountains.
A lot of people further away, like Broward Mall and the developments here, felt and shaken, sort of worry about structural issues beyond this initial field here.
The city building official is here. They're going to check all the buildings in the nearby area for structural security and make sure everything is sound before we open them back up again. All right, I'm going to, at this point, I'll turn it over to Sergeant Ryan, and she'll do the interview in Spanish as well.
Okay, so what you just saw was this presser with Plantation Police and Fire. They are now confirming that there are 21 people injured. One of those is a child, but he did not elaborate as to the extent of those injuries. Two of them he called level 1 traumas, which means potentially life-threatening, no life-threatening injuries. So again, nobody found dead because of this explosion happening in Plantation earlier late this morning.
Right, and we know that 13 of the injured were taken to Westside Regional Medical Center, and that's where we find Daryl Forges. Daryl,
they went to Westside.
What are you seeing there?
Well, just like what we saw at Broward Health just about an hour or so ago, the scene behind me is fairly calm, but you just talked about it. Reaching out to the West Side Regional Medical Center officials, they do tell me that they have 13 people that was sent to this hospital, this emergency room. In fact, I did see one woman who still had her workout clothes on and her workout gloves on, and she was treated and released. I spoke to her before she left. As you can imagine, she's just too shaken up to speak on camera right now. She tells me that when she was working out right by one of those glass windows at LA Fitness, that's when the glass exploded onto her back and the back of her head. She suffered some minor injuries, but she says that she is okay. She's just concerned about the rest of the people that was around her at LA Fitness during the time of that explosion. Now, you also just talked about it. We were also at Broward Health, where we were told by officials there that 2 people were rushed to the hospital there, one in trauma, and you talked about that one pediatric patient. That child is at Broward Health as we speak as well. And in fact, we also spoke with one man who worked at LA Fitness, still had his LA Fitness polo on at Broward Health. He talked about how he heard the explosion while he was working at the front desk, and he was just concerned about the customers there at LA Fitness. But right now, again, all we know at this point is that 13 people were rushed at this hospital right here behind me, and another additional 2 were rushed to the hospital at Broward Health. And once again, you all, we're still gathering more information about these, the condition of the people at this hospital behind me, because we're not really allowed on their property. So we're still gathering more information. As soon as we get that, we will pass that along to you.
Daryl, the woman you spoke with, you mentioned that she was working out near some glass, and it cut, you know, she had cuts and injuries to her back. Did she give you a sense of some of the other injuries she saw?
No, she was just focused on herself at that point. She was really making sure that nothing happened to her. She did see the chaos behind her, but at that point, her main priority was just making sure she was okay. She says she was shaken up, as you can imagine, by what happened. But after that, of course, police ambulance came to her rescue and helped her out. But at this point, she says that her main focus when the whole thing happened was making sure she was okay, because that glass exploded right next to her while she was working out.
And Daryl, this is Natalia here. I wanted to know, did you get a sense from her about what she felt in the moment of that explosion? What did she describe going on around her, and what did she feel?
She said her ears were ringing a little bit when it happened, and she did hear some screaming around her as well. But after that, she says everything was a blur because of what happened. She was just shaken up, trying to figure out exactly what happened to her. Her adrenaline was rushing at that point because she didn't know exactly what happened to her, but she had some minor injuries to the back of her head. And once again, she is okay. But when it comes to the people that were around her, she says that she doesn't know exactly the extent of their injuries.
All right, thank you so much, Daryl. That was Daryl Forges live from Westside Regional Medical Center. We have Arlene Bornstein as well on the field. Arlene.
Natalia, hey, yeah, we're here. We have a different vantage point than we had earlier today. That's because we were cleared to come out here on Peters Road in University, which, if you're familiar with this area, it is pretty stunning to see no cars except for media and emergency crews coming down here. This is a very busy strip of businesses, a mall nearby here, and of course this LA Fitness. I want to show you the impact this explosion had on this structure. This window completely blown out. I believe an entryway below that also completely gone. The emergency vehicles are covering the front of the building, the facade. However, that also looks like it's taken on a lot of damage. And you know, this explosion, keep in mind, this did not happen inside this LA Fitness. It happened at a pizza shop right next door to it, and it is believed to be a gas explosion. However, officials cannot officially confirm it at this time, but there's been several witness accounts of gas they were smelling in the area when they were entering LA Fitness. One of the employees heard it from other members, and other members told me the same thing. So obviously this was a stunning incident for them, because this was just a Saturday morning workout for a lot of these folks. And this explosion not only impacting this LA Fitness, this went on through several businesses. There's a Carrabba's here. I don't know if you have our live picture up, but Akeem, if you want to pan over, this Carrabba's here, I would say just about, you know, within the same strip mall. You could walk over from the LA Fitness. They told me they had a full lunch service happening when they had to be evacuated. There was a water pipe that burst, ceiling tiles falling from the roof. We heard many accounts at the actual LA Fitness that there were parts of the roofs collapsed. Again, there were children inside the gym at the time being cared for while members, you know, go work out. They leave their kids with the kids' care. There was also a swim school happening, from what we understand. But we're seeing a huge effort out here. Multiple agencies. We've seen law enforcement from Coral Springs to Sunrise. We've seen Fort Lauderdale Fire. I can count about 10 to 12 emergency vehicles, and that's only what my eye can see. There are emergency vehicles scattered, saturating this strip mall. Now, a couple of things, you know, just so viewers know here, all stores and businesses in the area of the Fountains Plaza and the Plantation Marketplace near this LA Fitness is going to be shut down until further notice. Another thing, there were members here waiting for their cars for several hours, and unfortunately, that's something they're not going to be able to even get to. And some of them told me they had their wallets and even cell phones inside their cars. That's going to be opening back up on Monday. Some folks not able to get their belongings till Monday, if that gives you an idea of the impact of all this. Some of the words that were described to me, they said that it sounded like an earthquake. Some people said it sounded like a bomb. They were stunned, they were scared, but everybody did what they could. There was a Taekwondo school not far that had to evacuate their children. EMTs who were not on duty offered their services. So really a big community effort here. People really came together. There were 2, I believe, significant injuries that we're covering with Daryl at the hospitals, but nobody has passed away in all this. And again, we're not hearing many significant injuries. As you see this building, you would imagine by looking at it that things could have been way worse. Now, we're hearing about another gas leak. We're gonna have our ear to the ground here. There's been press conferences going on, and of course, we'll bring you the latest as it becomes available. For now, we're live in Plantation. Arlene Bornstein, NBC 6 News.
Arlene, thanks for that. And as the authorities said in that news conference just a little while ago, they are relieved, especially when you see the extent of the damage here. Yes. It's pretty remarkable that it wasn't worse than what it already is. We also want to point out, Arlene mentioned that there's a potential gas leak. They did kind of address that in that news conference, and they said that it wouldn't be unusual to smell gas at a switching station down the road, but they reassured us that they have shut down gas to the area, so they did not seem too concerned.
That's right. It seemed like it's an odorant that they add to the gas. Now we're going to go to live pictures of this reunification center that they have set up where families and loved ones can go. This is at the Central Park in Plantation.
And this is actually the gym area.
That's right.
That's where they're asking people to go. The address there is on your screen. It's 9151 Northwest 2nd Street. This is the place to go if you are trying to get some more information, whether you're a business owner or if you're looking for a loved one you haven't been able to connect with. This is where authorities want you to go. They do not want you to go to the scene. That is still a very active scene. They've blocked off roads. You will not be able to get to the scene. This is where you should go.
That's right.
9151 Northwest 2nd Street.
And if we can pull the map up again, we want to reiterate what the fire marshal mentioned about road closures. Okay, so the perimeter is basically from University shut down from Broward Boulevard to Peters Road, and then Peters Road is closed from University Drive to Southwest 78th Avenue. So again, University Drive shut down from Broward Boulevard to Peters Road, and then Peters Road closed from University to Southwest 78th Avenue. If you're in that area, avoid it. Take an alternate route.
Right. The bottom line is just don't go to this area. A few highlights of this latest update that we got from authorities. They have completed the search for victims, and they are now in the process of doing what's called a secondary search in the center. That would be the area that would be described as the core, where the bulk of the debris is located. They've also assured us that they have secured hazards, which means they have shut down electric and gas, so there's no more gas leaking in this area. Again, to reiterate, 21 injuries. That's the latest number we have from authorities. 2 of those were serious. The 2 serious ones were taken to Broward Health. And Daryl Forges tells us that there was a child that was injured that was also taken to Broward Health. Now, we want to show you some video that we got from viewers. We've been getting viewers' videos all morning long, and we want to show you the latest one.
What happened? I don't know. We were in the gym and all of a sudden just started falling down from there. We were in the Publix. Yeah. The roof felt like it was caving in. There was debris from the Publix. We felt it.
All right, you're seeing a cell phone video captured by our viewers. As you could hear and see, it seemed like there were people hurt in that video, and they were obviously very disturbed by that. That it looks like it was in the parking lot in front of that LA Fitness. Of course, this was taken hours ago as this explosion, or moments after the explosion occurred. We're going to take you to right now another video clip provided by our viewers.
Is anybody inside? Did anybody check if anybody's inside? Oh my God. God help me. Lord, please. No. Is anybody in there?
Gosh, you could see just how frantic people were trying to see if anybody was trapped inside any of these buildings. Let's show you one more video that we received from a viewer. We can't hear what they're saying, but again, it just gives you a sense of what you're seeing in the aftermath, the immediate aftermath of this explosion at this shopping center in Plantation.
There's definitely, you could hear in some of these videos the concern that the people had for the people that were possibly trapped inside that LA Fitness gym. Fortunately, though, it seems that officials have already found everybody that was hurt. They, as you said earlier, Alina, are now conducting a secondary search, but they have completed their initial search for victims. And they referenced this as an explosion of some sort. And that's a quote from the fire official that just gave us a presser earlier. So again, we have been linking this, and a lot of people have been saying it may have been a gas explosion. Tico Gas Company is on scene, and they've said that they have shut all natural gas to this location, to this area, and that their main concern is for those who have been hurt.
Well, authorities said earlier today that a gas leak was active when they arrived. They first arrived on the scene. They later shut down gas service to the area. They also said that they found ruptured gas lines in the debris. But again, they don't want to go and say just yet with certainty that it was a gas explosion, although everything seems to be pointing in that direction. They're still investigating the cause. It will take some time for them to get to the bottom of what happened. And, you know, the explosion was so powerful that you could really feel it, not just in that immediate area of the shopping center, but up to like a mile away. And we know that Andrea Martinez has been out in the neighborhood surrounding the shopping center talking to people. We want to go live to her right now. And Andrea, you've been talking to people who've had damage to their homes.
Yeah, that's right. We're in the Royal Palm Estates neighborhood. This is directly behind the Fountain Shopping Center, about 0.3 miles. And earlier, just moments ago, actually, we saw folks out here boarding up their windows to their home. This glass completely blew out. Now, these are not impact windows, the residents here tell me, but this is the only damage to the house. There are also some cracks here that you can see. Luckily, they got it boarded up just in time because the rain is coming this way. We've also talked to other residents here who have also seen damage. Earlier we spoke to one woman who also saw the backsliding door of her home blow out, some cracks in her ceiling as well, and then some insulation in her house where actually fell to the ground. So we've seen some residents with damage. Just goes to show how strong the impact of this explosion really was. And again, just the sentiment that we're getting from residents here in the area is that, you know, this stuff can be fixed, but they're just thankful that this wasn't fatal. Again, lots of residents have been out here just talking about, you know, what happened, is everyone okay? And but luckily, again, like I said, everyone is just thankful, and also thankful that the damage here is minor. And again, like I said, these folks were just boarding up, and we just happened to drive by, and they were fixing up this window here to the best of their ability. And again, just right in time because the rains are going to start rolling in any minute, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Andrea. Again, if you are just tuning in, we are talking about this gas explosion that occurred at near the LA Fitness at this strip mall in Plantation on Peters Road and South University Drive. It is a massive explosion that's affected not just that shopping center, but areas around it, as you just heard from Andrea. She's been with us the whole afternoon reporting on other houses and structures around the area that have felt the impact. We know we have also heard from people who have called in, our own coworkers, some of them who live in the area, who said they felt their whole house shake in some cases.
And the concern now, if you live in the area, you're probably wondering if your structure is safe. And authorities did say in this latest news conference that we had that the city building official is on site, and will be checking all of the buildings in the area to make sure they are structurally sound before reopening any businesses or letting anybody in to some of the buildings that were evacuated. I think that the priority now is safety, making sure that these buildings are structurally sound.
That's right, Alina, and we have an interview now with a woman who was there at the site when this explosion occurred. Let's take a listen.
We were training and we were in the middle of doing it, and we heard a big boom, and then there was dust in some of the ceiling tiles. They didn't completely come down, but they shifted down. So there's actually an area where it was like dented down, and the kids started freaking out, so we all started evacuating, and then we all started running out to check because it literally sounded like something went off right next to us. And then we found out that we could smell gas coming from one side, and then we started smelling smoke, so we knew something happened over there.
All right, so I want to reiterate, in the former press conference we just had recently, the fire official said that they weren't sure where this explosion occurred. So we have been talking a lot about possibly a pizza business in that strip mall, but he said he was not sure and he didn't want to give details just yet. As to what we do know is that it happened in that area on South University Drive and Peters Road.
And I think we've been hearing really all afternoon long from people who were in the area and experienced the sheer force of this blast. We want to have you listen in to what one witness told us.
Chick-fil-A with my wife about a half a mile away, and it was around 11:25, and I felt my car shake. And I asked her when she came out if she heard or felt anything. She was in the restaurant at the time. She said she didn't. And then I dropped her off for an appointment. I came to Lucky's Market to get some shopping done, and I saw some people milling about in gym clothes, like just wandering sort of aimlessly, almost zombie-like. Yeah, the pizza place has been closed for about 8 months, and one of the witnesses I spoke to had told me that a couple of weeks ago there were some property management people in there, and ever since the lights have been on nonstop. And this morning, she said that other folks had smelled gas. So the pizza place is totally gone.
And that was Ken Burke. He's actually an NBC6 employee, and he was in the area at the time of the explosion. You know, it's interesting because he talked about how people kind of looked like zombies right after the explosion, and officials did say that when they arrived on the scene, because they were asked where did they find most of the victims who were taken, they couldn't say with certainty because when they arrived, they found patients scattered all over the debris area.
Yeah, that's right. And we're talking about the explosion that occurred in Plantation this morning around 11:25. Officials have confirmed about 21 people have been hurt. Nobody with life-threatening injuries, nobody dead, thankfully, but they are still conducting a search. Now, they did say that they are doing a secondary search. They did complete the search for the victims, the initial search, and now they are scouring through the bulk of that debris to make sure that nobody is left behind.
Right, it's just as a precaution, but at this point they don't believe that anybody's trapped. They never found anybody trapped in the debris, which is good news. Let's listen into an update from fire officials that they gave us just a little while ago.
We're very much relieved that, considering the debris field and considering how we found the patients and where we found them, the injuries are not as severe as we would have thought they would be. So we're very thankful for that.
Thankful and relieved.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that given the extent of the damage you can see on your screen right now, it is quite miraculous that there was nobody that was gravely injured, although, he said somebody was taken with level 1 trauma with potentially life-threatening. We don't know exactly the details of that, but certainly it's good news that nobody has died as a result of this explosion.
We do know that at least one child was among the injured. 21 injuries, one of them a child, and according to Daryl Forges, who was at Broward Health Medical Center earlier, he says that child was taken to Broward Health Medical Center.
That's right. We're going to take a look at some viewer video shot with cell phones and see what they can share with us about this.
Mira.
That seems to be the inside of that LA Fitness gym that is near the epicenter of where this explosion occurred earlier today. That seems like there are pieces of the ceiling that have fallen to the ground. We heard a little bit of what sounded like an alarm inside the building.
Yeah, you can get a sense of the immediate aftermath. Just moments after that explosion, the gentleman in there on the video, you can hear him saying, and it looks like an earthquake.
Yeah.
And that's the recurring theme that we've been seeing all afternoon from people who were near the scene or at the site, just saying that it felt like an earthquake.
That's right. And so we have another video taken by and provided by viewers. Let's take a look.
That was the scariest thing I've ever experienced. Look at this, yo.
That's the reaction that I think many people were having when they were seeing this all unfold before their eyes. This is eyewitness video. This is a first-hand account of the immediate aftermath before anybody arrived on the scene. This is what people were having to deal with. Imagine being in that building, walking out and seeing this just moments later. I think there was a sense of confusion, not quite sure what was happening, what caused it, and just a little bit dazed.
Yeah, and luckily it seemed like a lot of people weren't panicked. They did seem, though, concerned, and we've heard in other videos that viewers provided that they were worried for people that may have been trapped inside the LA Fitness. But fortunately, as we've been telling you, it seems that no one is trapped anywhere. Authorities have been telling us for the past few hours that no one was found trapped under the rubble and nobody has been found dead.
Now, this all started at around 11:30 on a Saturday morning. You would imagine that this is a very busy area to be, the gym, LA Fitness, a popular place to be. We've talked to people who are familiar with this area, who live in the area, who say they're surprised that it wasn't worse because of the timing of this explosion, the fact that it was a Saturday morning, people were out and about. There are several businesses in this area. This was a popular shopping center in Plantation. There's that LA Fitness that we've shown you lots of video of. There's several restaurants, and there's also a Publix, we're told, not far from there. So a lot of people doing what they do on a Saturday morning, going about running their errands. 21 injuries, 2 of them serious. Those serious injuries were taken to Broward Health North. 13 others were taken to Westside Regional Medical Center, and 6 are at Plantation General Hospital. Those are the latest numbers in terms of the breakdown. The cause of this explosion is still under investigation, though we heard from people who were at the scene who say that a few minutes before, just before the explosion happened, they smelled gas.
Yeah.
So the initial reports, the preliminary information is that this is a possible gas explosion. Again, authorities are working right now to get to the bottom of this cause.
That's right, and I want to point out the reunification center that's been set up by authorities for anybody who has loved ones in the area, or anybody that thinks that their loved one may have been in that gym or anywhere in that strip mall. It is 9121 Northwest 2nd Street. That's the gymnasium at the Central Park in Plantation. Again, 9121 Northwest 2nd Street. That's the gymnasium that is located inside the Central Park in the area. Also, keep in mind the road closures that are happening in the area. University Drive, a large part of it, well, as you can see there, we have some live pictures of the area. But keep in mind, University Drive and Peters Road, many parts of it have been closed, and you should avoid the area, take alternate routes if you plan on being there.
So again, this is going to be an active scene for a while. You'll want to avoid this area for quite some time. Again, secured hazards, no more gas leaks in the area. This is according to authorities. They've shut down gas to the area. 21 people hurt. We're working to get to the bottom of what happened here. We're also working on getting updates on the extent of the injuries. At this point, we only know that 21 people were hurt, but we don't know what kinds of injuries they've suffered. Thankfully, no one has died, at least at the moment. Authorities have not said, have said at this point that there are no fatalities.
That's right, and Tico Gas Company has shut off all natural gas to the location, so it seems that everything now is in that case, it's secure.
We're going to keep you updated on this. We'll bring the very latest starting at 6.